guys, welcome in. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for joining us. Hope you're having a great Thursday. Man, do we have a big show for you today. This is going to be awesome, and nobody else out there is doing it because nobody does local like us. Nobody does Indiana news, politics, and government like us. Coming up today, we are going to have 4 delegates to the Republican State Convention this Saturday. Each one of them has pledged their first vote to a different candidate. All 4 of the candidates running. You've got Jamie Rittenauer, you've got Max Engling, you've got David Shelton, and you got Diego Morales. And so what I went out and did was I found a delegate who had publicly espoused, hey, I'm for pick the candidate, and said, hey, can I talk to you for 10 minutes about your strategy at the convention? So you're going to learn why they picked the candidate that they did. And then, most valuable, and this is where, like, if you're a campaign, if you're one of the candidates, you should be all over this. Because they're going to lay out how they probably are going to vote on the next ballot if their candidate goes down. Or even if their candidate doesn't go down based on the results, what they're likely to do. What would move them off of their candidate and where they intend to go. Because as you guys probably know by now, these conventions usually, especially when you have a whole bunch of people running, like there will be this year, they usually don't get decided on the first ballot. And even the Engling delegate concedes he's probably not all that close to getting the necessary number on the first ballot. And then everything starts getting interesting. You get the horse trading. You get because basically what happens is, and we'll go into this, I'm going to introduce each of these delegates, and then when we're done, what I want you guys to do is I want you to play along as we're playing these interviews. Because if you're paying close attention, you will sense a theme. You will see a theme that each of these people are saying, regardless of who they're supporting to start with. And when we get done, I think we have a pretty good picture of how Saturday might go. Now, look, everything can change, right? People can change their minds when they get in there. People can change their minds between now and then. But when you hear 4 people, and there is a common theme kind of between these people, even though they're supporting different candidates, you can start kind of putting the pieces together. We'll get a picture of how Saturday might look. And so, for those of you who don't know, the way it'll work is there's a vote, and then there's a long period in between the next vote. They got to reset the machines. They got to get everything ready to go again. And so each time, there's a window for the candidates and their supporters to try to convince other people. They're on a floor. It's literally a floor. And you can mosey around and mingle and all that sort of stuff. And so you literally have an opportunity to try to convince people to come over to your team. It's long. It's great theater. Like the idea of the whole thing is collectively is great theater. It's just way too long. It takes way too long. I mean, you're talking, it could end up being a 12-hour day when you got 4 candidates running, depending on how the vote actually goes. And that first vote is going to be very important. So stick around, guys. This is going to be crazy. I think you guys are going to love it. It's coming up today on the Rob Kendall Show. Plus, Beau Bayh will be with us. He is the Democrat candidate now for Secretary of State. And we're going to talk about his victory at the convention last Saturday. We're going to talk, I guess it'd be 2 Saturdays ago now. We're going to talk about where his campaign goes, how he expands beyond the Democrat base, how he gets independents, how he gets Republicans. We'll talk to him about Greg Ballard potentially being in the race. We'll talk about whether Diego's the nominee or not, how that alters what he's going to do. That is all coming up on today's program. It's going to be a can't-miss episode. We'll get into the Iran deal a little bit. But we're going to start with the governor's guy, who we told you was going to screw everyone at the IURC. The governor's guy screwing everyone on utility bills. We'll talk about that in a second. But first, our new sponsor to the Rob Kendall Show this week, All American Dog Fence. Do you have a dog? You don't have a fenced-in yard? Your HOA won't allow a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime you go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All American Dog Fence. All American Dog Fence is the cost-effective, easy-to-use in-ground fence system to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. All American Dog Fence is locally owned. Owners Kelly and Jeff, they have 3 dogs of their own, and they believed in this product so much they bought the company. How about that for a testimonial? All American Dog Fence backs up their Pet Stop products, designed and manufactured in the United States with a lifetime warranty. Call or text All American Dog Fence at 317-862-6606. 317-862-6606. Or visit their website, allamericandogfence.com. Hey, and what a deal. When you guys book an estimate with the All American Dog Fence people, if you mention our show, say, hey, heard about you guys on the Rob Kendall show, you're going to get $200 off. $200 off just by mentioning our show. All right, let's get to it. And this article comes from the Indiana Capital Chronicle. The Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission voted 3-1 Wednesday to approve a $71 million electricity rate increase for AES Indiana customers. That's the power company. And as many of you know, AES serves Indianapolis. They're the people who provide most of the power to Indianapolis. And so yesterday, the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission approved a $71 million rate increase to users of AES. Now, couple of resets on the background on all this, right? So the IURC is the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission. They oversee all things related to utilities. They're appointed by the governor, but they rule on their own. When somebody comes to them for a rate increase, they say thumbs up or thumbs down. And the governor made the price of utilities, gas and electric, a major issue over the past year. Now, he doesn't want to acknowledge that just last year during the legislative session, he signed a bill that essentially gave the utility companies the ability to play Dr. Frankenstein, these SMRs, these small modular reactors, this unproven technology, nuclear, in which they get 80% of their research and development back, whether the technology works or not. He doesn't want to acknowledge that, which will be huge rate increases for everyone over time. But Braun said, well, look, utility bills are out of control. Affordability is my biggest issue. So I'm gonna make sure these people that I appoint to this IURC, that affordability is going to be their top issue too. And Braun got 3 appointments this past year, which on a 5-member board, I don't know if you guys know this, 3 is a majority. So anything that happens now on this board, Braun wholly owns, because he appointed the guys and the girls. And in the case of Braun's appointments, the one that stood out to us and the one we said, oh, that's a bad idea, was Andy Zay. Andy Zay was a state senator who gave up his state Senate seat to head up the IURC. He's the president. And when Braun appointed Zay, I said, bad idea. You cannot appoint an institutionalist to one of these boards and expect they're going to be on the side of the people. That was obvious. It was obvious to me Braun didn't actually give a damn about the people or affordability when he put Andy Zay, state senator, on the board. And as usual, it was, oh, Rob's a shock jock. Rob's doing it for ratings. He's a radical. He's an unserious person. I said, oh, no. No, when some guy's claim to fame is, I kept trying to get the state sandwich to be named the Tenderloin, tells me not really pro-taxpayer. Not really pro, in this case, consumer. And that brings us to yesterday, in which by a vote of 3-1, Braun's IURC, of which Braun told us affordability is my top issue, voted to raise rates by $71 million for AES users. The three IURC members who voted for the increase, David Valletta and David Zeigner, now they were left over from Holcomb. See, Holcomb's the gift that keeps on giving. The tax increases that keep on taxing. That's the Holcomb legacy. But the third vote, Andy Zay. The exact guy that I told you when he was appointed to that board was going to screw everybody over. Because institutionalists think about the institution first. They don't think about you first. They think about the institution first. I knew this was exactly what we were going to get when I saw the name Andy Zay as the choice. There's zero you look at Andy Zay's record and go, he's really on the side of the folks. He's really in it for the people. And yet Braun picked him. Why? Because he's an insider. Because that's what Braun is. Braun's an insider. Braun was not happy yesterday. Quote, my top priority is affordability, which is why I'm deeply disappointed by the IURC's approval of another AES rate increase. Hoosiers have spent years tightening their belts and making tough financial decisions. It's time for utility companies to do the same. You don't get to bitch. No. You don't get to bitch, Braun. See, this is what Braun does all the time. There's a problem. He comes up with some bad idea, then considers it solved, and goes, see ya, on to the next thing. He did it with property taxes. He's done it with the IEDC. He's done it with the IURC. You don't get to bitch, Braun, because there's a very direct question you could have asked every person that was going to be on that board. Will you approve rate increases? It's a very direct question. Will you approve rate increases? If the answer was yes and you appoint them, then you own it. If you chose not to ask the question, it's because you didn't want the answer. Braun owns this now. His guy, who's the president, cast the deciding vote, who we said, you notice, they bitch about me all the time, but damn, I'm right a lot. We told you guys when they appointed Andy Zay, I said, this is not going in well. And Zay was the deciding vote to stick $71 million of tax increases on the people of Indianapolis. Now, they are tax increases because you don't have an option. You can't shop the utility bills. You can't go to another company because the utilities are a monopoly. And I guess you could theoretically say, I'm not turning my lights on, or I'm not going to have air conditioning, or I'm not going to have heat. I guess theoretically you could do that. Hey, Grandma had to go to the hospital. Why? We didn't turn the air conditioning on. Well, it was a choice. You opted into it. This was so obvious. You don't get to, Braun, you don't get to complain, man. You had the ability to ask every one of these people that you appointed, will you approve rate increases? We've laid out for you about the profit increases of the 5 for-profit utilities in the state of Indiana, the investor-owned for-profit utilities, and how they've gone from 13 cents of every dollar to 15 cents of every dollar. Profits are rising with the utility companies, and they're able to do this because they're given a monopoly by the government. They don't earn it. It's not like they give great service. AES sucks. You guys know there's a guy on IBC in the afternoons. I'm done saying anybody's name, by the way. If they don't say my name, I'm not saying theirs. That's the new policy on this show. If they're not going to say my name, I'm not going to say theirs anymore. There's a guy on in the afternoons on IBC who has AES who bitches about it every single day, both the price and the service. You have to take my word for it. You don't get to complain when you put the people in charge. They're not elected, they're appointed, and they're appointed by you. And you had every opportunity, the governor did, to ask these people directly. There's no need for rate increases. The profit margins for these utility companies are inching upwards. That should not be happening when the monopoly is given by the government. Every dollar these people earn is granted by the government. You get to say no more. 13 cents of every dollar sounds pretty good because you don't really have to work for it. Here's your monopoly. Thank you. Here's what Zay said. There's a lot of eyes on this order and what we're doing today. What is before you on the floor is nearly a year's worth of work, evidence, deliberations, and considerations that brings us to this moment in this decision. None of this was taken lightly. I want to thank my colleagues for their patience and working through amongst the auspice of affordability. What the hell kind of language is that? The auspice of affordability. You think that guy's going to be on your side? Some guy who uses phrases like auspice of affordability. Which is certainly a hot topic now, as well as the resiliency, reliability that we see in this increased demand in electricity because of the damn data centers. Again, you don't get to bitch about need for increased electricity as a reason for a rate increase when guys like Andy Zay voted to fully fund the IEDC, which hands out $1 gajillion to these data centers. The IEDC, the report came out, was last week, week before, $655 million in tax incentives to data centers through the IEDC. You bribed the data centers to come, Andy Zay. You and your buddies in the General Assembly. By empowering, emboldening, and funding the IEDC to make it happen. You don't get to lament the increased use in electricity, which is not the fault of the homeowner. It's not. It's the fault of you. Because you guys paid for the data center people to come. The increased demand in electricity is related to you in the General Assembly and the governor, both the current one and the previous one, having a do-drop-in policy on the data centers. And as usual, you're screwing the people. The people pay more. They pay. The people pay more so that the data centers can have a free ride. Again, not anti-data center, anti-regular people paying for data center. I'm not a NIMBY person, but I am regular people, middle-income people, poor people, should not be having their money taken to give freebies away to megacorps of any sort. The Office of the Utility Consumer Counselor last year recommended state regulators deny AES requests for $193 million base rate increase, instead proposing a $21 million reduction in current rates. So the people on the office on the side of the folks said, hey, not only should you deny this, you should force them to give $21 million back. And Andy Zay and his buddies on the IURC said, smooch our butt cheeks, we're going to raise your rates by $71 million. Quote, the AES rate order today issued today is an outrage, and Hoosiers deserve better, Counselor Abby Gray said in a statement. Governor Braun made it clear that ratepayer affordability is a priority far more than just a hot topic, as described by the chairman of the IURC. Ha ha, that's great. Go Abby. This order fails the governor's call to overhaul how utilities are regulated in order to lower bills for ratepayers. But again, Braun doesn't get to complain because Braun appointed the people. All he had to do was look at, and so one of Braun's appointees voted no, one of Braun's appointees didn't vote because of a conflict of interest. So it was 1-1-1 on Braun's appointees. Doesn't sound very pro-ratepayer to me. Ben Inskeep, he's the program director for ratepayer advocacy for the ratepayer advocacy group Citizens Action Coalition, and this is a big one, said utilities across the country often ask for a larger increase than they need, knowing that regulators will disallow roughly half of it. And that's basically what happened here. This was not the full freight that AES asked for. But this guy's right. Ben Inskeep is right. What the utilities do is they come in and ask for way more than they need and then allow the IURC to save face and go, well, we didn't give them everything they asked for. We gave them, a third of it or half of it. Quote, the latest AES Indiana fuel adjustment clause proceeding shows AES Indiana is actually not only earning all of their allowed profit, but over-earning by $19 million their return amount, Ben Inskeep said. They're already extremely financially successful at this moment in time, so it's rather bizarre to give an extra $71 million. Approved here. So there you go, guys. It's business as usual. The same way it was business as usual with the property tax deal, in which the businesses made out like bandits at the expense of you. It's business as usual with the IEDC, in which Braun appoints an all-new board, and they just do the same stuff, handing out billions of dollars to mega corps. A bunch of these corps are going to bring in foreign workers, fully funding the data centers, the giveaways to the data centers, and now it's happened at the IURC. He looks at a problem. He doesn't fix the problem. He does something, the bare minimum. He then declares it fixed and then just washes his hands of it. And in this case, he's bitching about the people he appointed. Call on Andy Zay to resign, Braun. If you're really angry about that, if you're really pissed off on our behalf, call on Andy Zay to resign because apparently he stabbed you in the back. You did it. You own it. All right, couple of announcements. So here's how the show's going to work today. We're going to hear from Beau Bayh next segment. Beau Bayh is going to join us. Then we are going to hear from the delegates, the 4 pledged delegates to the Republican State Convention. I'm going to walk you through each one of those interviews, and then at the end of that, we'll kind of talk about what did we hear, because there is a theme if you pay close attention, and it's very important. If I'm a campaign, I'm zeroed in on that. So we'll get to both of those things. I'm going to do a couple of announcements early because we won't have time to get to them later. Normally, we kind of sprinkle in the announcements across the program. Number one, if you guys haven't done so yet, we call it like, share, and subscribe. That's the way you can help this program grow. It's an all-Indiana program. It's dedicated to Indiana news, politics, and government. If you like what we do, the 3 ways you can help us are like, share, and subscribe. Number one, thumbs up. If you're watching us on YouTube, live or on demand, give us that thumbs up. It really helps us grow this program. Number 2, share the feed out. You got a Facebook, you got a Twitter. Put it out there. Broadcast to the masses. Say, Rob's here now. Here's what he's doing every day. Once people tune in. Look, we're fighting with both hands behind our backs right now. We're limited to the internet and the kindness of strangers. Won't be that way for much longer, hopefully. But for now, we're fighting with both hands behind our back. We need you. Facebook, Twitter, all the social media you got. Put it out there. Hell, even do it on LinkedIn. Those LinkedIn people are civic-minded people. They'll enjoy that. Yeah, MySpace. Does that still exist? And then last, wherever you're listening from. If you're watching us on YouTube, on demand, thousands of people every day on the Apple, the Spotify, the iHeart. Welcome to you guys. Thank you. Subscribe to the channel. Like, share, subscribe. That's how we grow. A couple other announcements. Don't forget, we are less than a week and a half away now. What are we? 9 days? 9 days from the live show. Coming up, June the 27th, Mad Hatter Comedy Club in Greenwood. Our thank you to you guys, our celebration of you guys. Our way, Jason and my way, to say thank you for you guys helping us for 16 weeks grow this program, being the best darn audience in the world. Get your tickets now. Just a few tickets are left. It's a much smaller setup than we had the last time. We did that by design, so there weren't as many tickets printed. Get your tickets now. We've got the link up. The link to get the tickets, robkendallshow.com. And once they're gone, we're much more limited. Unlike last time when we had the full theater setting, we could move stuff around and try to jam people in. We're not going to be able to do that this time. So get your tickets today, robkendallshow.com. The link is up there, top of the page. Come join us. Come hang out with us. Have a great evening. June the 27th, a week from Saturday. Get the tickets now, robkendallshow.com. All right, 2 other notes, and then we'll move on. Number 1, you guys, many of you know, we have a super fan. He watches us almost every day. He's in the YouTube chat. You guys know him. You love him. C. Mills. And he's in there today. Okay, great. C. Mills. And he said I could talk about this. It's fine. And look, one of the things I love about this show is how tight our community is. Yes, we have thousands of people that watch every day, and a lot of people watch from the peripheral, right? They don't engage. But we have a core of hundreds of people that are like family, that have gotten to know each other. They engage with each other in the YouTube chat. If you haven't done so yet, get in the YouTube chat with these people. They're a ton of fun. All you have to do is be a subscriber to the channel. But one of our big listeners, our great fans, is C. Mills. He's having some health issues. And he had a clot in his liver that busted. And he is waiting to be transferred to go to surgery. And he kind of thought maybe they were going to do it last night. They haven't transferred him yet. They have to make sure they have everything ready to go. So C. Mills, we love you. If you're the praying type, I know many of you in our audience are, say a prayer for C. Mills that he gets taken care of and gets healed. I know he would really appreciate that as well. And and the old man is doing better. That's excellent. Okay. All right, perfect. So, but we wanted to mention that. We love C. Mills. He's great. He's been with us from the beginning. That's one of the things I love about this show is we have the freedom to be able to do stuff like that. So if you're the praying type, say a prayer for C. Mills and pray he's on the mend for recovery. Also, our sponsor of this show, the show's third hour, is John Rust. I know many of you guys have seen Rust on our program before. Like, that guy's great. You want to meet John in person? You got a chance. June the 23rd, that's Tuesday. So this coming Tuesday, he's going to be at the Indie Defenders of Liberty. That's a great Tea Party, liberty-minded group on the west side of Indianapolis. They've been around for about 15 years. I've spoke with them several times. It's a great group. He's going to be speaking June the 23rd, 6:30 p.m. at the F.C. Tucker Building on U.S. Highway 36 in Avon, Rockville Road, right? It's right next to the Best Buy, the Texas Roadhouse, the Office Depot. That's the easiest way to find it. It's right there by the Ronald Reagan. I'm going to go. I asked my wife last night. She's like, yes, you can go. I was like, do I have any responsibilities with this toddler tyrant? She's like, no, I think you can go. I said, okay, great. So I am planning on going pending something happening. And so great chance to meet John. Say thanks for sponsoring the show. 6:30, Tuesday, June 23rd, FC Tucker Building in Avon on U.S. Highway 36 in Avon. John Rust will be talking about America's founding, qualities that make America exceptional, and ways to advance these principles today. All right, one more thing, then we'll move on and we'll get to Beau Bayh. Yes. Sunday, Father's Day. Honeysuckle Hill Bistro is preparing a Father's Day brunch buffet that will blow your mind. You know, we talk about Honeysuckle Hill Bistro all the time. Andy, our guy, one of the owners, did the sign. They love our program. They're huge supporters. It's an incredibly cool venue. It's totally worth the trip. You just get on 40. It's very easy to find. And it's on the water. It's outdoor seating, scenic view, great food. And if you're looking for something different this Father's Day, this would be it. Now, here's the brunch buffet. Listen to this lineup. Fried Atlantic cod, pork burger sliders, pasta salad, corn on the cob, kickin' baked beans, Dolly's potato salad, peach cobbler a la mode, and a non-alcoholic drink, all included in your Father's Day brunch buffet. Now, Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage, they're open Friday for dinner, Saturday for dinner, and that Sunday brunch buffet, which is a special one for Father's Day. You have to have a reservation. They go quick. They got to plan the space, especially for the special days like Father's Day. 812-443-3003. 812-443-3003. Father's Day brunch buffet, Honeysuckle Hill Bistro in Brazil. You won't be disappointed. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Beau Bayh is going to join us. We'll talk about his victory at the convention a couple weeks ago. We'll talk about how his campaign is pivoting to the general election. We'll talk about him taking on what would he do as Secretary of State. Will he open the doors on the 4 years of Diego Morales? We got a whole bunch to get to with Beau Bayh when we come back. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Did you know Honeysuckle Hill in Brazil offers more than just a fabulous made-from-scratch meal at the bistro? It also has an adjoining cottage, great for a perfect, relaxing weekend away with a scenic waterfront view. The cottage offers 3 bedrooms, 2 baths with spa-like tile showers, full kitchen, living room with fireplace, laundry facilities, and a full deck overlooking the lake. And Andy, one of the owners, delivers breakfast in a picnic basket at 8:30 each morning. Plan the perfect weekend away at the scenic Honeysuckle Hill property on the water in beautiful Brazil. Book today by visiting their website at honeysucklehillb.com.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Well, we like winners on this show, and he was victorious just last week at the Democrat convention. Beau Bayh, now the nominee for Secretary of State on the Democrat side. Hello.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me.
So I'm super curious. What do the Bayhs do for Father's Day?
Well, we're going to the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro.
Oh, you are not.
In outside of Brazil, Indiana. So we're very excited for that. Buffet style, peach cobbler a la mode.
I love that.
We're excited to see
Are you
Jody.
serious?
Yeah,
That's
we're headed over there.
I love that. Andy and Jody, I'm sure they're going to be thrilled. I may have to work that into my live read on Friday. It's so good the Bayhs are going. All right, so take us back to last Saturday. You win 61% of the vote.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like that was a good showing for you?
I do. You know, a 21% victory we're happy with. And obviously, you're not going to get 100% support. And I think it's a testament to the kind of campaign that Blythe Potter ran. She should be applauded for that. The 39% of the delegates that did not vote for me, I don't think were voting against me. I think they were given another person to vote for, which is a good thing. We need more competition in our politics. And I'm happy she raised her hand. It's not an easy thing to run for public office.
So you see guys like Jesse Brown. I'm sure you see it. He puts out the thing. And I'm going to see Brown, I think, next week. So I'm going to tell him he's an idiot. And we like Jesse, right? Jesse and we get along well. But he does the thing about, I'm never voting for Beau Bayh. He's at this, he's at that. How many guys do you think are out there like that were at that convention? You think it's a small number?
I do. And look, if someone is extremely ideological and they want the most extreme person on every issue, I'm not your guy. I'm more of a pragmatist, and I think we ought to work with each other in government to get things done. A lot of times in divided government, that's the only way to get things done. I mean, that doesn't mean that you sacrifice your principles. Of course, you got to have deeply held beliefs, but you also have to recognize that in order to get things done, you have to form principled compromise, and that's not going to be everyone's flavor. That's okay. We can disagree a lot, but
James Briggs had an interesting article in the Indy Star. I have to say nice things about them now since I write for them. But I thought it was a good piece where he was basically saying, look, if Democrats want to win, if they want to be serious, they got to start putting people like you out there because you sort of mirror the state, right? Like the left people are not going to win. How tough of a case has that been for you post-convention to some of these people who may be more left ideologically to get your house in order before you start trying to get independent Republican votes?
We have a passionate party, and there's a diversity of opinions within the party. I think what we can all agree on with respect to this office is that the type of insider dealing and wasteful spending and corruption that has plagued it is unacceptable. That's not ideological, regardless of what wing of my party or on the other side, in the Republican Party or even independents, you know what area you come from. We can all agree that that's unacceptable. In this position, really, you're faithfully administering the will of the General Assembly. And so your ideological bent shouldn't really have much to do with it. You just got to be a competent administrator of the laws of our state, of our electoral process. So that's what I'm going to do.
So what do you do now? Because you'll know who your opponent's going to be, or one of them at least, on Saturday. By the way, do you have a preference? Would you like to tell us who you're encouraging the Republicans to vote
that's
for?
for the 1,800 folks in Fort Wayne to decide in between looking at the U.S. Open and all that. But no, look, whoever emerges from the convention, whether it be Diego Morales or someone else, will have to reckon with the fact that Hoosiers are ready for fundamental change in this office. And if it happens to be Max Engling, he will be controlled by the same people that have propped up Diego Morales for the past 3.5 years, knowing full well that he was incompetent and dishonest.
You made that case well so far. Is that going to be a strategy for you? You're going to remind everybody, hey, Banks, Rokita, all these guys who now, hey, Diego's got to go. They were Diego's the best not that long
Well,
ago.
look at the reasoning they have provided in their own words. This is not me putting words in their mouth, all right? Look at the reasoning they've provided for abandoning Diego Morales. It's not the luxury SUV. It's not the no-bid contracts to his donors. It's not hiring his family members to newly created positions. They could care less. It's because they know he was going to lose to our campaign.
Yeah.
And so think about what that says about them, that they only want power for its own sake. And they clearly don't care about good government, about protecting the taxpayer. And the people, but Hoosiers are smart enough to see through stuff like that. And that's exactly why people are fed up with politics.
When you win on Saturday, what do you do that night? Like when I won my race, I was like, we're going to Broad Ripple, the same thing we do every evening, right? What do you do after a
Well, we didn't go to Broad Ripple. I just got dinner with my family. Got a nice steak and just celebrated with my brother and my dad and some other family friends.
There was a cool photo of you and your dad and brother on the convention floor before the event. What was that like for you to be there with your dad? Because obviously you grew up sort of in that shadow of, hey, my dad's in public service, my dad's an elected official. You were there for a lot of that. What was that like for you to be able to share that with your dad?
Oh, it was special, of course. And we had my mom passed away about 5 years ago. And so we had a place set for her with a remembrance placard. And so I felt like she was with me too, in addition to my brother. And, I think we might have talked about this before, Rob, but I get asked all the time on the campaign trail, are you just doing this because your dad did it? And of course, the answer to that is no, but it does affect you as a young person growing up, seeing the impact that he's able to have, your grandpa's able to have on our country and our state. And of course, any idealistic kid growing up wants to live a similarly consequential life, particularly when I've had so many blessings given to me. And so I think he's proud of the fact that I've taken this leap. And it's not common for young people to get involved in this today because of some of the barriers to entry.
30?
I'm 30, yeah.
What's it like to have won the genetic lottery,
Oh,
right?
man,
like,
I don't know.
we laugh about that, but it's like you have sort of seized that opportunity, right? Like you have taken the talents and gifts given to you and you said, I'm going to use them for this. And a lot of people your age, they don't want to do that.
Yeah. Well, look, who can blame them? Look at the state of our politics. When it takes millions of dollars to be competitive in political campaigns, especially at the state level, when you have to subject yourself to so much public scrutiny, so much divisiveness, lies, anger, the rest.
Is that hard? Like, does it bother you?
No, I have thick skin. I was a Marine.
I like when people are mean. So how are you with that?
You keep grounded in why you're doing this. And as long as you keep that at the forefront, that you can really help people in this line of work, then the rest of the stuff just rolls off your back. I was a Marine Corps infantry officer, so not a lot gets to under my skin. And particularly when people don't know me or saying things that are untrue about me, you can't focus on that kind of stuff, right?
Beau Bayh is our guest. He's a Democrat nominee for Secretary of State. Is it fair to criticize you for people who give you money? Like there's a video that surfaced of somebody asking you a question and this donor had ties to this group or that group. People are mad because people have given to Trump or giving to you. Like, is it fair to criticize you or any candidate over who gives them money?
I think the influence of money in our politics, we should all be skeptical of. And look, if I had a magic wand and I could just decide, I would overturn Citizens United and I would get the influence of money out of our politics. I can't do that. And unfortunately, the reality is you have to raise money to wage successful campaigns and inform the 5 million or so registered voters of our state about the choice in front of them. And so we've done a good job of doing that, and not just with Democrats. This might not make some people in my party happy, but we've reached out to Republicans too for financial support. I'm going to ask for their votes in the fall, and I'm going to ask for their financial support too, because that's what it's going to take to win.
Well, Briggs said that in the column, and he was right. He's like, look, the rules are the rules, right? And you're not going to win with $7. You've got to be able to raise that amount of money to make the case against your Republican opponent.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. I wish it was not the case. I really do. But we've also, look, there's a lot of focus paid to the bigger contributors, which I understand. But what's not talked about enough is the thousands and thousands and thousands of people, more so than any other candidate by multiples in this race, that have given to our campaign throughout our state $5, $10, $15 at a time. And that's not talked about a lot. And I'm more proud of that support than some of the bigger contributors.
Okay, so now I kind of thought like you and Ballard, if he gets on the ballot, we're going to have some sort of like unholy alliance, right? But as soon as you won the event, he tweets out something about going at you, and then the Democrats go back at him. So we're done with like Ballard's just in it to help you. He wasn't some plant by you guys. Is that right?
Well, I had no say in the response, and I saw what he said. And look, he's entitled to his opinion. And but I actually think I agree with a lot of the things that he's saying. I think that the barriers to entry for people running for public office outside of the duopoly of our political system are too high. The 37,000 signature requirement, in actuality, more than that, it's a lot, and it costs a lot of money. And so if you don't have access to some of the financial contributors that you need in order to clear that hurdle, you can't participate outside of the duopoly of our political system. And people are hungry for more choices, more independence in our politics. And I agree with him on that front. So it was a funny thing that he put out, and we'll have a passionate debate if he's on the ballot.
You're very nice. Have you ever been angry?
Yeah, man.
I said, I think you're too nice.
Well, I think I'm
You're like Seinfeld when they try to make him angry.
I'm stern when sternness is required. For example, when Diego Morales or whomever else in our state government is abusing taxpayers. We talked last in your show. I've paid income taxes here for the past 8 years. That's my money going to that car, Rob.
You know, they sort of stopped off on he doesn't live here anymore once you put that out there.
Well, yeah, and Diego Morales was born and raised in Guatemala, so maybe they stopped for that reason too. But we can't tolerate wasteful spending of our tax dollars. It's unacceptable. And that is exactly why people hate politicians, because they don't trust them. And why would they when you look at people like Diego Morales, right? So that does upset me.
I would think you would be fun to be in there because you've pledged you're going to publicly audit the whole office, right?
Yeah.
We're going to know who was involved with what. How bad do you think it's been?
I think it's bad. I think just what we know, it's like an iceberg, right? We're just seeing the iceberg of this, the luxury SUV, the family members, the no-bid contracts, the hiring of non-citizens to important roles in the elections division.
That's a bad one, right?
Yeah, that's a bad one.
Can you pledge you will only hire U.S.
Yes, of course I will. And I'm not going to hire my brother. He's happy with whatever he's doing for work. But that's just what we know here, all right? So we need to conduct the independent audit as a baseline to restore some accountability to the office.
So the breaking news is you will not hire non-citizens and you will not hire your brother.
Breaking news. You heard it here
very
first.
good. All right, so let's talk about what you do want to do. I think there's a couple of things you're for that are interesting. One is you support the idea of ballot initiatives. Tell us about that.
I want the 5 million registered voters in our state to have a more direct say in some of the biggest issues facing them. We have a problem here in Indiana. We have one of the lowest participation rates in the country. And look, we can only have citizens and eligible people participating in our elections. But at the same time, I think we got to do things to increase participation among eligible voters. Putting big questions on the ballot. Not only would that result in more common sense policy, because I trust Hoosiers to make those big decisions, but it's also going to motivate people around issues they really care about to get off their couch and into their polling place. So I'm all in favor of people having a more direct say.
What do you hear about that from people? Like when you're out, do people say, hey, we want the ballot initiatives? Is that why you're supporting it?
Yeah, well, it's fundamentally, I support it myself. And then I do hear some positive feedback because one of the main criticisms of politicians today is that they are captured by special interests and they're not looking out for the majority of people, the average person in our state, right? And if the way that you can cut through some of that apathy and distrust of our political process is letting the 5 million people in our state who are registered to vote have a direct say on the big issues. And look, there's some guardrails we could put in place where this is not just, a flip-flop thing all the time. You got to have a supermajority support, things like that, some signature requirements that are common sense to make sure that you can't just get crazy questions on the ballot that don't have a whole lot to do with our state government. But I think people are hungry for a more direct say in some of the biggest issues facing them. Take the gerrymandering thing we went through toward the end of last year as an example.
Yeah.
I want people in our state to make that big decision, right?
Yeah, and that's a good point. Now, the Republicans are obsessed with closing off the primaries now because they lost one election. Even though they control all the rules, they didn't win one of their elections. Where are you on closing off the primaries?
If the taxpayer is funding the primary system, which they are, we should not close it off to private clubs. The taxpayer deserves to participate in whatever primary they would like. And I think it's very concerning when we have a case here in Tippecanoe County where we're subpoenaing voters about, we're talking about thought crimes here. Who
That's
cares?
right.
It is between you and God who you vote for, right? That is a personal decision. We have a secret ballot in our country for a reason. And we should not set the precedent in our state of trying to subpoena voters and talk about, and try and put them on the stand about, and potentially perjure themselves about their thought process for why they voted. So I'm not in favor of closing the primaries. And I think just to put a bow on this, Rob, the biggest group of voters in our state is not Democrats or Republicans. It's independents. That's right. And so if you force people to register with a party that they don't agree with, that's going to drive our participation even lower than it already is. And it's already toward the bottom.
Okay. A couple things before we let you go. Number one, you're going to have to convince Republicans to vote for you, and you're going to have to get some independents. What is the case going to be? Because there's a lot of people out there that say, well, he's fine, but the Democrats are a bunch of crazy people, right? How do you thread the needle of keeping your Democrat core in place, but also getting enough people to get you across the finish line that are those in the middle type of people?
My main goal in seeking this office is to clean up the corruption and the insider dealing and the wasteful spending that has gone on. It's unacceptable. Honestly, it is. And it doesn't matter what side of the political spectrum you come from, we can all get behind rooting that kind of nonsense out from our state government. So, of course, I'm going to appeal to independents and Republicans too, because a lot of good conservatives don't like when their tax dollars are wasted on hiring family members. I mean, that's ridiculous, right? And so if it ends up not being Diego Morales after Saturday, that person will have to answer to the same machine that has propped up Diego Morales for the past 3 years and has allowed this to fester.
So you don't think England will clean it up?
No. And well, this is a very important point. So you played a recording on your show the other day of him.
He listens. We love that.
He was alluding to some type of special prosecutor for Diego Morales.
Yes, that's right. And then they were like, he didn't say it. I was like, he totally said it.
He clearly believes that there's at least enough evidence of criminal wrongdoing that some kind of prosecutor would be necessary. At the same time, in the Indy Star this morning, he's saying he's going to vote for Diego Morales if he ends up being the candidate. So which is it? You clearly think that this guy may be a criminal, but if he's successful, you're going to support him. You're willing to support someone who you're fairly certain has taken part in criminal activity because he wears your color jersey.
Are you surprised that because they were so adamant, not him, but his supporters, they're like, he didn't say that. And I was like, I have the tape. Like, what do you mean he didn't say that? I have that. And then afterwards I said, can I get my apology now? And nobody's just like, that never happened. Like, the defense of Diego is so bizarre because everybody knows what he did.
But it's not unexpected. Because when you have 20 years of the same group in control of everything, people like that because it allows them to feed off the taxpayer trough, right? Look at Diego. Look at some of these other wasteful things that we've seen gone on in state government. If there's no one in there, an independent voice, to call out some of the waste and the abuse, the folks in power like that because they profit off of it. So it's not surprising that we see people coming to the defense of Diego Morales if they're benefiting from the same system that has propped him up for so long.
I tell people this about you. I say you're very likable in person and you're a very good person-to-person campaigner. Do you like doing this? Because I feel like you've gotten much better at it. Do you like doing this?
My favorite part of doing this is meeting people.
For real?
Yeah, the human element of politics, it's become less and less significant as the influence of money and TV ads, digital ads, all the rest. But the retail side of this, the human-to-human interaction is absolutely my favorite part because when you meet people in person, it's easier to dispel the myth because of your political party. You think X, Y, and Z, and you associate with these people in other parts of the country, right? If you meet people face to face and you just talk about the issues on their own merits, then you can kind of take out some of the partisan effect from the conversation. You just meet people and talk about what's important to them, right? So I love that.
Well, no pressure. We've declared it the summer of Rob. You are the Democrat candidate I've waited for. I think if we can get Ballard in the soup with you, we're going to take down the Republican cabal. So no pressure. But what are you doing now? What's the next couple weeks, month look like for you? And then we'll send you on your merry way to do whatever you're doing next.
Well, we did not take any time off. This past week, I was in Terre Haute, Lafayette, Fort Wayne. I was up in Gary. There's some really bad storms in Northwest Indiana recently.
You were there and no Republicans were. That was so weird.
Well, I was in this neighborhood. I mean, completely destroyed houses. And so we were doing a little bit of storm cleanup there. And I was in Whitestown last night, and we'll be hitting the campaign trail hard. I got an event in Indy tonight and just keeping at it.
Yeah. No vacation? No.
I'll rest on November 4th.
There you go. Yeah. Beau Bayh, thank you, my friend.
Thanks, Rob.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll be back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Is your driveway showing signs of wear? Freeze-thaw cycles, road salt, environmental buildup like mold and dirt can all cause unsightly damage that can end up in an expensive repair. That's where Seal Now comes in. Seal Now are the clean, seal, and stain professionals that can help you protect your outdoor surfaces. Got a worn-out fence or deck? They can revive the look while providing long-term protection. Call today, 317-548-2002, or visit sealnow.com. Not only will you get a free estimate, but mention you heard about Seal Now on The Rob Kendall Show and receive 20% off any long-term sealing project.
Is the inside of your house a total mess, like a complete dumpster fire? Call AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning. When you walk into your house after using AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning, you will see and smell the difference. They take great pride in their workers and treat your home like their own. All cleaners pass through a background check and drug screening. Call today and mention you heard about AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning on the Rob Kendall Show, and you will get an incredible $50 off your first clean. AJ's Picture Perfect Cleaning serves all of Central Indiana. Book your appointment today by calling 317-530-8148. 317-530-8148.
If authentic wood-smoked barbecue is your thing, Double D's Barbecue in Clayton is the place for you. Owners Dennis and Tina Duncan, along with their son Garrett, are from Memphis. So when it comes to barbecue, they're not screwing around. No pellet smokers, no roasters, just authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue. All of Double D's food is cooked fresh daily, and it's all made from scratch. Double D's Barbecue, located at 40 and 39 in Clayton, is open all day, Wednesday through Saturday, but get there early because once they're sold out, they're done. Check out the full menu, ribs, brisket, and more at ddbbq317.com.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for joining us, man. Do we have a cool segment coming up for you guys? I think you guys are going to love this. I was totally fascinated by it. So earlier this week, I put out a call on social media and said, hey, if you are a delegate to the state convention and you're willing to talk about who you intend to vote for and why, let me know. And my goal was to get one pledged delegate for each candidate. And my whole premise of doing this was I wanted to understand what drew people to each of the candidates, but most importantly, I wanted to understand where those people were likely to go if their candidate didn't win, if their candidate had to drop off. And I think that's where this election is going to get decided. So we found 4 people. They were all wonderful. We talked to each of them for about 10 minutes. And we're going to play each of these interviews for you now. And then when we're done, pay attention as we go along. You're going to get a theme from these people. And then when we're done, I think we have enough information to make an educated guess on what might happen on Saturday. Now, of course, right, we're just guessing. If what we predict doesn't happen, don't say, Rob said. This is what we do here, right? This is the game that we play. But I thought all of these people were great. Now, look, you're not going to get the sort of interview that you get with, one of these politicians. These are just regular people. They were kind enough to offer their insight into who they're voting for and why. I mean, I'm not grilling these people or yelling at them, even if I don't agree with their opinion. I think it was super interesting, though, the reasons people are voting for each of these candidates, and then that all-important pivot onto where they would go next. Could they be pulled away from their candidate after the first ballot? Where do they go if their candidate doesn't get enough votes and drops off? So we're going to get to that in a second. First, let me tell you about our fabulous sponsor, Bramwell Mackay. You guys got a leaky chimney, water in the basement, cracks around the exterior of your home? Bramwell Mackay Property Services and Consultants is your authority for chimney repair, tuck pointing, foundation repair, crawl space to basement conversions, basement waterproofing, and more. Bramwell Mackay doesn't offer quick patches. Their team of 40-year master masons and industry experts address the root cause and provide solutions that last lifetimes. Your home is one of your biggest investments. Treat it that way. Bramwell Mackay. BRAMWELLMCKAY, BramwellMackay.com, your masonry, foundation, and chimney specialist. All right, so we're going to introduce each of these people, and then we'll get into the interview. So let's get right to it. First up, Ryan Secord of Brownsburg is a delegate to Diego Morales, for Diego Morales. And so we sat down with Ryan, talked about why he's voting for Diego, where he potentially goes from there. Here's that conversation. It is the Rob Kendall Show. We are talking to delegates today, one for each candidate. Joining us now, Ryan Secord of Brownsburg. He is a pledged delegate to Diego Morales. Ryan, hello.
Hey, how you doing today?
Great. So, first question we ask everybody. You have chosen Diego. What about Diego Morales makes you a pledged delegate to vote for him at the convention?
Yeah, so I've known Diego for maybe 12 years. One of the things that I've liked about him in the time that I've known him, long before he was in elected office, that he's been pretty consistent on his issues, pretty consistent on his values, which I think are very important. He's one of the candidates that I've seen consistently throughout the course of his career really speak about his faith. I think that's very important to see our elected officials do things like that. Something that, and let me just say, I like Max. I like Dave Shelton. I've never met Jamie Rittenhauer, but both of those guys are good people, good individuals. I don't think Max would make a bad Secretary of State, but I have known Diego, quite frankly, longer, and having the time spent with him to really get to know his personality rather than what I'm hearing in emails or texts or trying to explain who this person is that I've not really had a chance to get to know yet. It just feels like a safer default position.
Let me ask you this. Does any of the cover, first of all, is the media unfair? Am I unfair to Diego?
Oh, totally. Yeah, you're unfair to Diego, and that's okay. We talk about this. So
Tell us what is unfair about, because I think a lot of people are going to be Diego delegates like you and feel the
right.
same way. So what is unfair about it?
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that because we live in this bubble. I'm in Brownsburg, as I think you might have said earlier, and we hear the Rob Kendall show here. We hear the local folks, but if you leave the donut counties, it's a completely different conversation. The folks out in VV, Indiana, or out in Allen County might not have heard all of the things that have kind of been said about Diego throughout the time. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see what delegates outside of the Indianapolis area and its surrounding counties, how they feel and how they interact with the different candidates. But for me, I'm still waiting for the FBI to come pick up Diego because he was part of the cartel. And I think there were a few other allegations that would have warranted action by law enforcement that never came to fruition. There's just been so much saturation of accusations and things that you almost become numb to it. It's like, oh, there's another thing, and it's not to say that I dislike you, Rob. I like you, but it's definitely one of those things. That's like you talk about this so
now, in
much.
fairness, in fairness, I never said the FBI was coming. I just want to know who paid for India.
Well,
that's what I want to know.
Yeah, and I asked you and I had a conversation about a year ago where you asked me to text Diego and say, "Hey, who paid for your India trip?" And he texts me back and he goes, "I did, dude. Leave me alone." Like, so.
And I love that you said that because that way it lets our audience know it's not that they needed it. I'm committed to the cause. No. Okay. I want to make sure while we have time to get Ryan Secord's with us. He's a Diego delegate. Will you mention people outside of the donut counties? And obviously you're a delegate. You've hosted an event for Diego. You're involved in the political world. Are there a lot of people that you're describing? Do you think on Saturday at the convention, there's going to be a lot of people that you're describing who, hey, they just don't see or hear the coverage like we do kind of here in central Indiana?
Yes, but I think the bigger piece is that people haven't really had an opportunity to get to know Max. Again, as I said, he seems like a great guy. I think he'd make a great elected official. I have nothing bad to say about him. But if you're going to go talk to somebody down by the Ohio River and say, "What do you think of Max?" They're going to say, "Who's Max? Who is this person?" I haven't had a chance to really get to know him. It's been very frustrating as somebody who doesn't like to be told what to do to have the party come together all of a sudden and be like, this is what we're doing, especially when I see a collection of people. I use a term, I call them Holcomites, the old guard of the Holcomb world kind of coming together collectively, like, hey, rowing all in the same direction. That makes me naturally distrustful of the system.
I was going to ask you that, Ryan. That's obviously a huge issue for me. I told you this. I feel sympathetic for Diego. I don't think you can be behind somebody the whole time and then go, "Oh, Mr. Scandals are us." Does that frustrate a lot of Diego voters that, hey, it's this organized effort, not just against Diego now, but for one guy?
I think if those the powers that be, if they wanted to replace Diego, they should have started this process months ago. I think they should have given us a fair opportunity to really get to know the person that they'd like to replace him with. I think that they should have been fair to that person that they selected and given him the opportunity to have the time to get around the state to really make himself known. Nobody can say that Diego hasn't been one of the most accessible statewide uh, that this state has ever produced. If there's a Lincoln Day dinner, he's handing out plates. If there's a local parade, dude's showing up. And he has the ability to get out there because he puts the effort in to say, hey, I'm going to get out there and I'm going to get to know every single person that's out there. Now, is that necessarily the job of the Secretary of State? Yes and no, because it gives people, regular folks, whether you're on Main Street or, blue collar job, or if you're up there and you're engaging in politics every day, a chance to have a relationship with somebody who's dictating certain aspects of your life is the way that a statewide would manage a role. And to me, I think that's pretty important. So again, not a complaint against Max. It's more or less like, if you guys really wanted to do this, why didn't you do this 3 months ago? Why didn't you do this 4 months ago? Give the man a chance to get out there, make a name for himself, make the connections, and give people the reason, to make the switch.
About 5 minutes left with Ryan Secord. He's a Diego Morales delegate. Have you given, and I ask this question to everyone, have you given any thought to what your approach becomes if your guy goes out on the first ballot, second ballot, whatever it might be? Have you given any approach to what you're going to do after that?
Yeah, and it's a tough one because, again, there's no personal animosity against Max. There's no personal issue with Shelton. I just don't like to be told what to do, and it's feels like everyone wants to row in one direction. This is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. But when I look at Diego, I say, how are we going to manage the Democrats selected by because of his last name? And name recognition, I think, is important. It creates opportunity for fundraising. It creates that kind of check in the box where people will look at the ballot who aren't politically engaged and say, oh, I recognize that name. I'm going to click that. Right. And when you go and look at the other candidates relative to the incumbent, Diego's sitting on damn near $2 million. And I think Evan Bayh has $2.2 million. So there's a very small gap there. And I know they say that once the convention's over, the money will come, but the money's going to come for the candidate anyway, because surely the party couldn't be so self-defeating that it's going to abandon Diego if he wins if he wins the race and he becomes the nominee, and allow a Democrat to come and come into office and then use that as a foothold to become governor, because that's clearly what, at least from my interpretation, what he wants to do. So, but when you look at Dave Shelton, when you look at Jamie Rittenhauer, when you look at Max Elling, structurally, they don't have the name recognition. They don't have the dollars. They don't have a history of winning statewide elections. And Diego, thanks to you and your cadres and all those folks, it was a dogfight on the first election, because it was a contested election, very much so. It was like, oh, he didn't vote legally, or oh, he voted twice, or oh, he did this and this and this. Well, Diego seems to be the only guy that can jump into the frying pan and come out successful.
In fairness, I hated Holly Sullivan too. I said everybody should vote for Shelton, so it was not like a.
Can I say something about that? When
we got about 2 minutes left. Yes.
When we selected Diego, the entire premise was to repudiate the direction of the party. They wanted to take us in a completely different direction. A couple conventions before that, maybe the one before that, they tried to change the definition of marriage. There was a concerted effort from the Holcomites to really moderate the social aspect of the party while keeping the fiscal conservatism. Thankfully, the delegates came in and said no. And by the way, here's the punishment for trying to do that. Here's the punishment for the things that we saw during COVID. And that punishment was electing Daniel Elliott over Alicia Nashala. It was electing Diego Morales over the red dress lady, but Holly Sullivan. Yeah, she was wearing the red dress. And for me, that's really important, because if we're going to establish these insurgent candidates, and we're selecting people that aren't like, they're going into statewide office for the first time. They weren't mayors, they weren't county commissioners. So they're going to screw up. They're going to do stupid things. They're going to have issues through the time. They're going to have growing pains. And I think it's really important as conservatives that if we're going to select folks that are going to come in and fight these battles on our behalf, then we're going to have to set a reasonable expectation for the next person that we ask to do that and say, hey, we're not going to abandon you the moment Rob Kendall throws you under the bus, you know, or Abdul or whoever's talking here, or all these other things, or all these other stories that are out here. For me, like I said, it was so much that it just became white noise. And what I really wanted was a structural candidate who I know has the money, has the name recognition, and has the resources to come back and win a contested election. And that's not, I'll just say this, that's not me saying anything bad about anybody else that's running for Secretary of State. It's just a simple numbers game.
Awesome. Ryan Secord, delegate, Brownsburg, Diego Morales, round one. Thank you for taking a few moments to tell us about your thoughts. I think this is super interesting, and I'm with you. I think there's a lot of Diego voters out there that aren't showing up on my Facebook feed or my Twitter feed. It'll be interesting. Thank you, my friend.
It's just a simple numbers game.
Hey, guys, welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We monitor the show in here while the show's on. It's one of our limits, yes, that we have doing the show the way we do. All right, if you're just tuning in, we are interviewing delegates to the Republican state convention this Saturday, and we're asking them who they're voting for, why they're voting for them, what their strategy is on Saturday. And again, my goal with this is to let them speak. It's their opportunity to talk about who they're voting for, why they're voting for them, what they're looking for in other candidates, if that need should arise once other candidates are voted down off the ballot. And so we just heard from Ryan Secord. He was a Diego delegate. Next, we're going to hear from J.D. Thomas. J.D. Thomas is a pledged delegate for Max Engling. He's from Avon. Here's that conversation. It is the Rob Kendall Show. We're speaking with delegates, pledged delegates to each of the four candidates running for Secretary of State. Joining us now, J.D. Thomas, Avon. He is pledged for Max Engling. J.D., hello.
How you doing, Rob? Good to see you.
Good to see you, my friend. All right, so let's start with why Max Engling. What went into your thought process that you said he's number one on the board?
Yeah, so I had the experience of living in D.C. for 10 years. I was in the Army out there. But while the time I was out there, I was still politically involved, and I had a chance to actually interact with Max here and there whenever he was working out in D.C. And now he's back in Indiana, right? He has the family, he has the small business experience, and he also has the legislative working experience whenever he was with Beck's Hybrid Seed. And when I look to see who's going to be the best person to do the job, I look to see who has real world experience across all levels of that office, right? Because it's more than just administration of elections, because a lot of that's done at the county level. I want someone that has the connections in the Statehouse and oftentimes at the federal level to ensure that the Secretary of State's office is ran as efficiently as possible.
Have you thought about what you would have done since he got in so recently? Like, have you ever pondered, well, I would have blank, or did you never get to that point?
So as far as who I would have supported had Max not gotten in.
Right.
What you're asking. Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, obviously, you have Dave Shelton, who has ran for 5 years and has about $12,000 in his account. And he has not really garnered any serious endorsements. There are some clerks that did endorse him. But I did have concerns about skewing his way because we're running against a real candidate here, right? This isn't 0-5 Destiny Wells we're running against. We're running against the Bayh, name. And regardless of whether or not Bayh lived in D.C. for most of his life, he's still going to have a lot of money, resources, and experience to win the day. And so as much as I would not have liked it, in spite of all of his flaws, I probably still would have been on Diego's side because he has $1 million plus in the bank. He has, the experience of running the office, and arguably how effective he has been in that position would be left to the voters in November. But I would take a guy who's already won at a convention and won a statewide election over a guy who's been running for 5 years and hasn't managed to garner any serious support.
I hear this a lot about Shelton, about the lack of money, and you mentioned the lack of endorsements, even though he does have quite a few clerks. He doesn't have a lot of high profile endorsements outside of them. The money thing interests me. So is it, because I think there's a lot of people who share your view. Do you not believe the Republicans would step up to help him if he were running? Talk us through your thought process on that.
Well, of course, I would say that the Republican Party would step forward to help a candidate, right, that would need, money to beat going to be a well-funded, well-oiled machine that the Bayh family is going to put forward. I do think that there would be some money that would flow that way, but it also takes a certain level of personality to ask for the money and to convince people that you're the right person for the job. So would money flow? Yes. Would it be at the level and support needed to beat somebody like Beau Bayh in November? I don't see that happening based on the past 5 years of him running a campaign. Now, it doesn't make Shelton a bad guy. I mean, there's plenty of really smart people that are good at, he's a county clerk, right? He's had some good things happen at that level. And I think that he'd be a good asset as maybe somebody in the Secretary of State's office working in the elections division.
JD Thomas is our guest. He's a Max Engling delegate. So it seems like my Facebook is filled with only Max Engling people. And then I'm like, is this real life? Is he going to win 60% of the vote on the first ballot? The people I talk to are like, no. Outside the bubble you live in, Rob Kendall, there's a lot of people that are for everyone else. What are you hearing? Like, is this going to be a one and done ballot? Or do you think we're going to have to move to a second ballot?
I might have to book a hotel room for Saturday night. I think, I mean, there's this, this thing, right? Of course, how did Diego win in the first place, right? There was the revolt against Eric Holcomb. What was a lot of the angst that went into Diego actually pulling that off against Holly Sullivan. But then we fast forward to present day, there are some people outside of the Indy area that might not be as plugged into some of the issues that Diego has brought upon himself. That might be like, hey, Republican Party, you guys are doing the same crap that you did to that you did, that got Holly Sullivan out. Like, what are we doing here? And so I think that there are people outside of the donut counties that are less concerned about his ability to win in November than they are concerned about their guy getting a raw deal, even though a lot of it's brought upon himself, unforced errors, of course. And then as far as, Shelton goes, I mean, he's from a completely different part of the state than Max Engling. Right, he's down there in Knox County, Davies County, areas of the state that are, we'll say, newer Republicans.
Now, let me ask you this, because my deal is, I've been on Diego for a while, and nobody seemed to want to listen to Uncle Rob about Diego, and then all of a sudden everybody got super concerned about Diego. I hear the phrase forced upon us, and you'll hear it in this segment we're putting together, the phrase forced upon us. Max Engling was forced upon us. Is it fair for some delegates to believe this guy who enters the race late was forced upon people by the bank's Rokita apparatus?
I mean, I would probably leave that directly to the candidate to speak on, and maybe somebody from his team would. But in my opinion, I think that there was definitely some analysis done with Diego and the issues that he had and could he win. Of course, final nail in the coffin is hiring a illegal resident, but definitely not a citizen, to work in that chief of staff role. That was kind of the final nail in the coffin. But you have to reflect on.
Real quick, I just want to ask you. She was definitely a non-citizen. Daniel Elliott said she was illegally in the country. Did we ever get an answer on that?
Honestly, like I've looked at her. I've her voter card, her voter registration card. She did click that she was a U.S. citizen, but who knows? IU Bloomington, maybe they're not producing their brightest on citizenship requirements as they do in the People's Republic of Monroe County. But as far as her ability to work in this country, it appears she was, and there. It's not like you can just go work for state government. I think you used to work there. There was
long years, 2 very long years. Yes, I did.
But just like any employment job, you fill out paperwork. It goes through the vetting process. So it is my assessment that she was legally authorized to work in this country. However, if you are going to be the voice that says only American citizens should vote, and you're hiring somebody who's not an American citizen at a rate of $160,000 a year, sign me up for that job. How like you can't do that so blatantly. And I think that as far as Max being forced upon us, I don't think he was forced upon us. I think there's analysis. Jamie Rittenhauer and David Shelton have shown that they do not have what it takes to win in November.
Couple minutes left with
Because
JD Thomas. I have two questions for you
yeah,
about second and third round balloting. First question is, and I don't think it's going to be an issue for you, but let's say your guy goes out on the first or second round. And I've asked this question to everyone, so I'm going to ask it to you as well. I don't think it's going to be an
sure.
issue for you. But have you given thought, first of all, is there anything that could pull you away from Max Engling on future ballots? Or if you had to by bad vote or bad voter result for you as the delegate, have you given thought to who you would go to?
Honestly, I mean, it would probably end up being David Shelton. If for some reason Max is out, on the second or third ballot, I don't see that happening based on every point of data that I've looked at. But if for some reason he is, I mean, Shelton's going to have to be the guy, because we cannot be the party who sits there and says we're for this, we're for that, and then we not reelect, but reappoint him as our nominee when he's had all of these issues that were so unforced. And it's not like he had problems. Even during the hearings, I watched a hearing with Ed Delaney that he did in 2025. And instead of just owning up and be like, no, like, this is why I did this. This is the legal basis for my decision. Next question. He kept on, shifting and bobbing and weaving. And I'm sorry, he's not Donald Trump. You can't have that personality. All right.
Diego is not Donald Trump. That's the quote of the interviews of all four. You win, JD. Diego is not Donald Trump. Before I let you go, if Max Engling doesn't get to 50%, which I agree with you, I don't think him dropping out after the first ballot's gonna, or the first round of voting is going to be a big deal. But you're going to have to convince some people to, or he's going to have to convince some people to get to that 50% plus one threshold. And you as a delegate will be on the floor. You'll be mingling. You'll be talking to people. What's going to be your sales pitch to whether it's a Rittenhauer, Diego, or Shelton voter to get them over to your guy as you're mingling and schmoozing with the other delegates?
Well, I mean, if for some reason I don't even know if it's even appropriate for me to even say, because I'm that confident that Max is going to win on the second ballot. We're not going to 3, but
You're saying it's done in 2.
it's done in 2.
All
Because
right.
here's the thing. Diego almost won on the first ballot. He was very close to winning on the first ballot. And that's what we're going into. You're going to go in with a good 600 to 650 delegates that are on Max's side, maybe more. I haven't seen the most recent tally. And it's the same situation.
I feel like you're breaking some news here. You think minimum he starts at 650?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Jamie's going to drop, and she'll probably have, I'd say probably 30 to 50. I would give her that. I know that she's a passionate woman. She means well. I don't know if this is the right position for her to start at. But I hope she stays involved at some level. But she does connect with certain delegates in certain areas of the state, and she will come forward with some votes. It will not be enough to get her through the first ballot. And the question is, where do those votes go?
JD
And
Thomas. Well,
Mhm.
hey, we want to thank you and all of our guests, because you guys have all been phenomenals. We'll put this together. It's been such a great insight into the convention, where people are going to go. I think this has been fascinating, and I want to thank you for stepping up, saying, "Hey, I'm for Engling," and telling us a little bit about why. We appreciate you, my friend.
All right, Rob. Talk to you soon.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show. If you're just joining us, this is a fascinating segment we're doing here. We're interviewing delegates from each of the 4 candidates, a pledged delegate from each of the 4 candidates at the Secretary of State's race. We're asking them, why are they voting for the candidate they're voting for? We're asking them the really important question of, what could peel you away from your candidate on future ballots? If your candidate goes down, where does your vote go? And I think when we get done with this, we're going to kind of recap everything that we've heard, and we're going to get a pretty good idea of where Saturday is likely to go. Before we get to our next pledge delegate, hey, one of the biggest challenges homeowners face is coordinating the sale of their current home with the purchase of their next one. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps Central Indiana families explore bridge loans and home equity solutions that may provide flexibility during their transition. Whether you're moving up, you're downsizing, or need to access your home's equity, Gary takes the time to understand your goals and walk you through options. Visit loansbygary.homes. Loansbygary.homes to learn more today. Gary Tedrow, Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 179207, equal housing lender. All right, third on our list, Anthony Gary. Anthony Gary is from Brownsburg. He is a pledged delegate for David Shelton. Here's that conversation. It is the Rob Kendall Show. We are finding out what are delegates to the Republican State Convention in Fort Wayne this coming Friday and Saturday. How are they going to vote? What are their plans? And here's what we're doing. We're talking to one pledged delegate for each of the four contestants: Jamie Rittenauer, David Shelton, Max Engling, Diego Morales. And with us now, Anthony Gary from Brownsburg. He is a pledged delegate to David Shelton. Anthony, hello.
Hello, Rob. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so full disclosure, I had one of your signs in my yard. It's right over your shoulder there. You were elected, you're the Republican nominee. You won the Republican primary for the Hendricks County Council. You're another beneficiary of being friends with me.
That's right. It worked out great. And so, yeah, I was elected, I won the primary, and I also won enough delegate votes to become a delegate for Northwest Hendricks County.
Yeah, so you are one of these people, because there's a lot of controversy about this. The people get appointed by the party chairs. You won it the old-fashioned way. You beat your neighbors.
Yeah, I won enough votes to have my neighbors have enough trust in me, I guess. And so, yeah, if you get elected as a delegate, you basically you have to pay your registration fee to become a delegate in a certain amount of time, and that locks you into space. And I guess if you don't, they end up filling your space elsewhere.
All right, so you have said openly, I am supporting David Shelton on round one of the convention vote. Why David Shelton?
Yeah, I think it's more important than me just saying that I am supporting David Shelton, because I'm a delegate, and I don't take that lightly, in the sense that it is my responsibility to act out on behalf of the folks of Northwest Hendricks County. They voted for me to do this. And so I took to my political pages on social media, mainly Facebook, and said, hey, listen, there are four options here. I would love to hear from you. What should I do with the vote as a delegate in the convention? And opened up the comments, opened up the DMs, and overwhelmingly the support among the people was for David Shelton.
So interesting. So you basically were like, hey, I work for you. A lot of people run to vote for someone. You were like, hey, I work for you. Who do you want me to vote for? And the responses you got were Shelton.
Yeah, and then that's what a delegate is, right? Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I back the decision that they've made, because I've done the research myself. I've gone and I've gone to one of the events for every single one of these candidates. There probably aren't a lot of delegates that can say that. And so I've understood what we're looking at for a while now. And between experience, between lack of controversy, and ultimately, the people just wanting some semblance of normalcy in this party, this is how we got here.
Yeah, I talked about this earlier in the week. If I were just a normal Republican delegate who wanted the Republican to win, I would vote for Shelton. How much of in your decision process, like if your people had told you, let's say Ted Bundy was on the ballot and your constituents had said, hey, vote for Ted Bundy, you probably wouldn't have done that. What about Shelton did you say, okay, the people want him that I'm hearing from, and he does whatever well?
Yeah, he has election experience, a lot of it. In fact, probably more so than maybe anybody running for Secretary of State anywhere in the country. And to that point, the people identify him as someone who can do this job, and hopefully do it without compromise, controversy, problems, etc. And really just keep this as a position that doesn't have a whole lot of publicity around it, because it probably shouldn't have any.
Anthony Gary is our guest. He is a delegate to the state convention from Brownsburg. He is our David Shelton pledged delegate. How much of a pressure push do these people put on you? Like when I was a delegate one time. I said, I'm going out a winner. I'm never going to lose a delegate race. If I'm going to lose, it's going to be on a, like an actual office race. But like it was like insane the amount of mail and pressure from these people. I lied to all of them repeatedly, so they all thought I was voting for them. How much pressure did these people put on you?
Yeah, text messages every day, emails every day, mailers every day, and to be expected, right? Because once you get into the pool of delegates, your contact information is shared with everyone, and so everyone reaches out to you. Yeah, at least 3 out of the 4 have sent me emails, texts, and direct mail this week alone, and it's Monday.
Okay, so there's some like universal questions I'm trying to ask here. The first sort of universal question is, have you given any thought to what happens? Let's say your guy goes out on the first ballot or the second ballot or whatever. Have you given any thought to what happens next for you? Are you staying? Are you going home? Are you voting for somebody else? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that. So I will commit that if my candidate goes out in the first round, I will stay until the process is over. I think that's important. And again, that's part of what the folks elected me to do. And so I will stick around for it. And if for some reason, Shelton goes out in the first round, just based on the rest of the field, I think that my support would defer to Max Engling. But the way that things are set up, I expect that the last 2 folks standing will be David and Max, and so if that is the outcome that happens, I won't have to vote for anybody other than who Hendricks County is telling me to vote for.
So you think the final 2, that it will get to 2 because people keep falling off. You think it will be Shelton and Engling will be the final 2 guys?
Yeah, I've been wrong before, but that's what I think.
You're very measured. Like I don't have any dog in this fight because I'm voting against whoever the person is that's in. So I can be very fair with this. Now, okay. So is this your first convention as a delegate?
It sure is.
Okay. Could you be what's the best way to sway you? Like if let's say I'm Diego. Let's say I've been given a life sentence and I had to be Diego, or I'm Rittenauer, or I'm Engling, and you're voting for Shelton on the first ballot. Let's say something horrible happens to Shelton. What's the best way to sway you? And do you think you represent a lot of delegates on the way you could be swayed on the floor?
Yeah, I don't think that there's a whole lot that could sway me at this point because even though this process is a couple of days away, the messaging for it has been taking place for weeks and in some cases months. And I don't think there's anything that I would learn between now when we're recording or when this airs and the time where that situation would come to the floor that anything would change, not only my opinion, but the opinion of the general public.
Does the whole we're all Diego's best friend until a month before the election and then Diego's unelectable? You're still an outsider. You're not elected yet. As an outsider looking in, does that bother you?
I think so here we go. A couple of days ago, I was at an event and I met Max, had a good conversation with him. Nice enough guy. Have no direct issues with Max whatsoever. But I think that the general public is really frustrated in how we got to this point. And that probably plays into, besides the fact that David Shelton has a ton of elections experience, is that there isn't any controversy surrounding how we got to this point with that candidate.
And I'm going to try to ask this to all of our delegates. Are you an outlier with the person you're supporting, or do you feel like I'm in a group, if not a majority, a plurality? Where do you think you are compared to your other fellow county delegates?
Yeah, I think that it would be about 50-50 with some outliers after that. And so I think that the Camp Engling is going to get a ton of support. I absolutely think that. But I think that there are a lot of folks that have seen how this process has played out and think that David is the right candidate for the reasons specific to doing the job.
Had the mayor of Lebanon, my frenemy, Matt Gentry, on earlier this week. And other than LEAP, I kind of like Gentry. They got a big problem with the LEAP district. But I asked him that because it seems like my whole timeline on Facebook is Ingling. And I said, is that real life or am I being manipulated by some sort of algorithm? And he basically said, yeah, the internet is not real life. And he thinks Diego's got a lot of votes out there. So you kind of think the same thing, right? Like those people are very loud, they're very boisterous, and there's going to be a lot of like quiet voters for the other three candidates.
Yeah, I think you're too close to the sun there. And so for the like I said to you once before, if I walked down my street and asked folks who the four candidates for secretaries of state are, they would look at me like I had three heads. And so that is why they elected me to do the homework on that and, ultimately make the decision that is correct, and also the ones that the decision that was voiced upon by the folks who have become educated on the subject amongst Hendricks County.
So when I went, it was in Fort Wayne. I went to the event. I was super excited. And then like an hour into it, I was like, I'm ready to go home. And I could not go home because I'm like you got to vote until the thing's over. People voted for you. And I was like, my gosh, this is the most boring thing in the history of humanity because I've seen all the people. I've talked to all the people. Are you excited about this thing? Are you excited to go do this thing?
I'm excited to see how this process works firsthand. Yes, I've been tipped off and coached that I'm supposed to bring snacks. I'm supposed to bring a phone charger bank to keep myself occupied throughout the time. And, maybe I'll watch a couple of minutes of the U.S. Open here and there during the downtime.
Are you going the day of? Because I went the night before. There's all sorts of free booze. I drank excessively. I lied to all the candidates so they'd keep giving me free stuff. And then I slept on a friend's hotel room floor. I did it for about $8, which is the Rob Kendall way. What's your strategy?
My strategy is to go up Saturday morning because I've got a family and 3 children, and I'm going to spend Friday night with them. So Saturday morning for me.
The one guy, I won't name him, he was glaring at me election day. It was like The Godfather. Like, I know it was you, Rob. I know you stabbed me in the back. Yes, I lied to everyone repeatedly. My goal was to waste as much Republican money, rich Republican money as I could. All right, what is your do you think the Republicans can win no matter who gets nominated, or do you feel like the nomination actually matters?
I think that if 2 of the candidates win, then the Republican Party can get behind either one of them and pull it off in November. I really do.
Ruin all my fun.
Well, if your fun disappears, it's probably good for conservative principles, but they have to act out conservative principles. We'll see how it goes.
All right, Anthony Gary, man, it is awesome to have people that are willing to stand up and say, here's who I'm voting for, here's what we're doing. I think people find this whole process fascinating. I guess good luck. I don't know what I'm wishing you good luck for, that your car makes it to Fort Wayne. I don't know, because I don't really care who wins. But, man, thank you for taking a few moments and telling our audience who you're voting for and why. I think this is great to go behind the curtain with people. You're the best. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob.
Yeah, you're watching Rob Kendall Show. Welcome back, guys. It is the Rob Kendall Show. We're working our way through our delegates, one pledged delegate for each of the 4 candidates for Secretary of State, talking about how they came to their conclusion to support their candidate, and then probably most important, where they're likely to go next. Now, so we're going to play with one delegate left to go, Raquel Gutwein. She is a delegate, pledged delegate for Jamie Rittenauer. We'll hear from her. And then we're going to talk about what we heard. Because if you guys have been paying close attention, there's kind of a common theme between these people. And I think you can get a pretty good idea of what might happen on Saturday. So we'll get to that here in just a moment. But first, hey, if you guys are looking to buy or sell a home, don't just choose any name out of the phone book. Don't just pick your friend's buddy. Don't just pick your buddy. Pick somebody, do the process, do the homework. You got to do Q&A with these people. You got to treat it like a job interview. And we think if you do it like a job interview, you're going to land on our pal, great supporter of this program, Lauren Wilson. Realtor with that property. She's been with us from the beginning. She's a Hoosier lifer, military vet. She would love the opportunity to show you what she's all about. She's a bulldog. She's a fighter. She's local. She wants to be an advocate for you. More than just a realtor, she wants to be an advocate. Put you in the right place if you're moving, and sell your home for top dollar. That's her goal for you. Find out. Do the interview process. Don't just take our word for it. Put it to the test. We had a listener just the other day who said he called up Lauren. He was blown away how great she was. Very impressed with how she was ready to put that plan in place to help him execute his moving needs. Lauren Wilson, Realtor with That Properties. 317-590-2290. 317-590-2290. All right, let's get to our final delegate, Raquel Gutwein. She is a delegate from Pulaski County. She is pledged to vote for Jamie Rittenauer. It is the Rob Kendall Show. We are talking to delegates about who they're voting for and why at the Indiana Convention, the Indiana Republican Convention, coming up on Saturday, June the 20th in Fort Wayne. Joining us now, Raquel Gutwein. She is a delegate for Jamie Rittenauer. Raquel, hello.
Hi.
All right. So you look very patriotic in the background there. Tell us what about Jamie Rittenauer appealed to your no doubt high level of patriotism.
Well, actually, she's there to do the job. I'm tired of the establishment, and honestly, a new face would be a great welcome asset to our Statehouse.
Talk a little bit about, because you're Pulaski County, right? You're
Pulaski,
correct?
yeah.
Yeah. Tell us a little about your county. Tell us a little bit about where you're at, why her message kind of resonated up there.
Well, actually, right now our grassroots just plummeted. It went crazy over here. We won 3 places in our incumbents to our county council. We got a new commissioner. We have worked our butts off to get where we're at now. We're trying to stop the solar that's coming through altogether as well. And no one seems to be helping us. And there's a lot of LLCs that needs to be stopped. So that's another thing that nothing's being done. So we're sick and tired of stuff.
Well, one of the issues is there's the job itself, and then there's the bully pulpit of the job, that ability to have a voice on key issues that a lot of people feel Republicans aren't listening to. How much of Jamie Rittenauer's voice that she has used in the past appealed to you to say, hey, there's the job itself, but then, like you said, with data centers, et cetera, this person would have a voice for us?
Well, she is there to do one thing and to do her job. It's not to play yes to the politicians. She doesn't need this job either. So she knows that she doesn't need to be there. She wants to be there for us Hoosiers. That's what resonates with me. She wants to be there for us.
Raquel Gutwein is our guest. She is a delegate. She is pledged to vote for Jamie Rittenauer on the first ballot at the Republican Convention this Saturday in Fort Wayne. Oh, did Jamie have to sell you? Were you considering other people? How long did it take you to come to your conclusion?
Honestly, I had my eye on her through the governor's race. I have been watching her since then. She had me at the primaries for the governorship 2 years ago. So I've already voted for her once. I don't know why I couldn't vote for her again. She doesn't need the job. She's perfectly fine with what she knows what she's supposed to do.
We here in Indianapolis hear so much about Shelton, and we hear so much about Diego, and we hear so much about Engling. We don't hear a lot about Jamie Rittenauer. We had her on our show. She's lovely. Outside of our bubble, our Indianapolis bubble here, in your corner of the world, do you guys hear a lot about Jamie Rittenauer?
Yes, we do. We have had her here 2 or 3 times. I know I've seen her twice here. I'm not sure if I got to actually see her the 3rd time. I could be wrong. But within the past month and a half, I've gotten to meet with her, talk with her, and she's been all over the state. So, I mean, she's not an Indiana person. She's not part of the establishment. And that's what really makes me very hopeful for her.
Right. Have you given any thought to your strategy? Obviously, you want your person to win. This is a question we're going to ask everybody here. If your person goes out, have you given any thought to what do I do next? Do you leave? Do you vote for somebody else? Have you thought that through yet?
Yes, I actually have. I was voted in by 797 voters, and I am going to stay till the very end. I want to make sure that I do have a second person in mind. I will not be saying who that is, but I do have that just because I know that the 797 voters want me to be there for a reason.
If you're not going to tell us who it is, because that's where the juice is, right? I was hoping you'd tell me who it is, because that's who I think is going to win. Okay, what do you think about with your second person? What has gone into that decision-making process? What have you looked for?
Someone that can possibly do the job as well as Jamie. That I don't feel like this person is going to reach that potential, but
You're being very careful.
Yeah, I'm very decisive, but I want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing for our state.
When you talk to your fellow delegates from your home county, do many of them, do they share your view? Do you feel like, hey, I'm kind of an outlier? Like, where do you think you fit in terms of your fellow delegates that'll be representing with you in Fort Wayne?
Well, actually, there's one other delegate that will actually talk to me. Yep, that's where we're at here in Pulaski County. We have a split down the Republican Party.
You think the Republican Party is very fractured as a collective, like across the board?
We don't want to look like it, but we are. I feel like we are. It's very sad that that's where we're actually at right now. And a lot of it is because we have the establishment on one side and we have the grassroots on the other. And the grassroots tend to rally together and we can get things done.
You were making a sales pitch on Jamie Rittenhour, because you might have to do that after the first ballot. You know, it's a big floor. You're going to have to tell people, come over to her side. Because, look, you're right. Jamie Rittenhour shocked everyone in 2024. She got those signatures. She beat Curtis Hill in terms of placing. She doesn't need nearly as much money. Now, I've said, don't sleep on Jamie Rittenhour in this race. What would your sales pitch be to your fellow delegates about Jamie Rittenhour?
Well,
no pressure.
Yeah, exactly. Why not? Why not, Jamie? What has she done wrong? She's one of the she is the strongest candidate. And what does she have in her background? What has she got that they're going to try to push on her, as the Democrats are going to try to push on her? What does she got? Nothing. Her background's clean.
Excellent. All right. You were the first brave soul. I don't know what order we're going to post these in, but you were the first recorded interview. Look, I think this is great. I love this stuff. It's an awfully long day, but I won't be there, so it doesn't bother me at all. Raquel Gutwein, she's a pledged delegate for Jamie Rittenhour. Thank you for taking a few minutes with us and telling us a little bit how your voting strategy is going to work. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's Rob Kendall Show. Okay, there you go. You've heard from all four delegates. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about what we heard. Because I think there was a pretty clear picture there to give us some sort of idea about what might happen on Saturday. Plus, we've got breaking drama, allegations of signature fraud in the Secretary of State's race. You got a text message going out to delegates saying David Shelton and his wife were peddling sex toys to schools or at schools. It's nuts. I love all of it. Inject it into my veins, all of it. When we come back, it's the Rob Kendall Show.
Hi, I'm Lauren Wilson, Realtor with App Properties. I would love to get to know you. I know that buying and selling a home is a really big deal. You need a plan in place so you can succeed. And that's where I come in. If you are buying, let me help you find that perfect home. And if you are selling, let me help you find that perfect buyer. Look, we're all Rob Kendall Show fans here. That's why I'd love to get to know you. I'm Lauren Wilson, Realtor with App Properties, an Army veteran and a Hoosier through and through. Call me at 317-590-2290. 317-590-2290.
Do you have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? Your HOA won't allow a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime you go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All-American Dog Fence. All-American Dog Fence is the cost-effective, easy-to-use in-ground fence system to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. All-American Dog Fence backs their Pet Stop products with a lifetime warranty. Call or text All-American Dog Fence at 317 862-6606 or visit their website at allamericandogfence.com. Mention the Rob Kendall Show and get $200 off a new installation.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the Central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance, so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
Welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for joining us, man. We got a lot to get to in the last hour and a half, hour and 15 minutes, whatever it is. Nobody does Indiana news, politics, and government like us. Here in just a moment, we're going to talk about what those delegates said and what I think it means potentially for Saturday. But first, if you haven't done so yet, help us grow this program. Every day we ask that you like, you share, you subscribe. Here's how it works. Hit that little thumbs up. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, hit that little thumbs up button. It really helps us grow the program, whether you're watching live or on demand. Wherever you're listening from, share it out. You got a Facebook, you got a Twitter, social media, wherever. Let people know about us. Let us know the feed is there, whether you're listening on the Apple or the Spotify, iHeart, wherever it is, share our feed out. Let people know the program is here. And last but certainly not least, whatever platform it is, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, iHeart, all of them, subscribe to the channel. We call it like, we call it share, we call it subscribe. Guys, it's Wednesday. No, it's Thursday. It's Thursday. The week is rolling. All the days merge together now. I don't even know what day it is anymore. But it's Thursday, and that means it's Loaded Baked Potato Day at Double D's Southern Barbecue. Located in Clayton, right there at the corner of 40 and 39, Double D's Southern Barbecue, authentic wood-smoked Memphis-style barbecue. The owners, Dennis and Tina, their son Garrett, all from Memphis, not screwing around with the barbecue. They've been voted best ribs at Rib Fest in Hendricks County. They've been voted best sauce at Rib Fest in Hendricks County. And so they take their barbecue very seriously. You got nothing to lose but a few minutes out of your day. It's a fun little trip on 40. And the service there, outstanding. Every one of you guys who's been there so far, and a whole bunch of you have, sent me the pictures. You've told about how great the service was, said how great the food was. If you're looking for something different for lunch today, this weekend, check it out. Double D's Southern Barbecue, ribs, brisket, and more. Conveniently right there on 40 in Clayton. And you won't be disappointed. All right. Okay, so let's talk about what the delegates actually said in those interviews. And everybody from the campaign should go back and listen to the show today if you missed any of them. Tell your friends. If you know these people running for the office, they got to hear it. If you're a delegate, you got to hear it. If you know a delegate, they got to hear it. First of all, thanks to all the people who participated. Those guys, they were great. And some people I know were like, why aren't you grilling them on this or that? Because they're not the candidates. They're just people who are voting. They're people who are cool enough, kind enough to say, hey, I'll tell you what I'm thinking. And they were all awesome. I thought they all did a wonderful job. Anytime you interview people that some of them you don't know, or they're not, trained politicians, you're like, oh man, how's this going to go? I thought all of them were great. There was nobody where it's like, can we air this? They were all excellent. And one of the things that I think was a theme throughout the interviews, because remember, the convention isn't about being everybody's first choice. It's about, can you be somebody's next choice, especially when you got a lot of people running. And the theme throughout those interviews appeared to me to be David Shelton was the second choice. Now, are these people guaranteed to be a representation of every Diego Morales voter or every Max Engling voter or every Jamie Rittenauer voter or every David Shelton voter? No, of course not. Of course not. Not pretending they were. Look, this is the best we could do in the short amount of time we had. And I think when you hear sort of the same thing from every person, you kind of sort of get a trend on that. And it really shouldn't surprise everybody because Shelton's not offensive. He doesn't get mean. He doesn't get nasty. He's not sending out bad text messages. Like we've said from the beginning, Shelton's just very boring. He's very competent. He's very boring. And so I think when you hear those interviews, you get a pretty good idea that for a lot of people, they're going to be okay with David Shelton being a second choice. I think if you look at the Engling people, they're certainly not going to give it to Diego based on the fact that Diego's scandals, plural, as Todd Rokita put it, is the reason Engling's in the race, and they've gotten nasty with each other. And I think if you're a Diego person, you see, as Ryan Secord laid out for us, they're being, I can't remember, he was told what to do, I think was the phrase that he used. And I think they see it as the Banks people, the Rokita people, coming in, throwing their weight around, trying to just boss people into taking their guy out of the office. And so they're not going to vote for Engling. Rittenauer, the Rittenauer people are a little harder to spot. They're a little harder to pin down. I thought Raquel, she was the only one who wouldn't say for sure. As a trained radio professional, I asked enough questions that I think she kind of gave us the answer, even though she wouldn't say a name. And I think based on Jamie Rittenauer's comments on this show when she was on, she certainly doesn't like Diego. She won't even say Engling's name, so I don't think she likes him either. So I think those people kind of look to Shelton. So the question becomes, can David Shelton do well enough on the first ballot that in picking up people, he's able to cobble enough together to eventually get to first? That's really the question, and that's the unknown. J.D. Thomas, the Max Engling delegate, he claims he's got at least 650 pledged delegates. If that's true, it sounds like a pretty good number. It's probably enough to be first place on the first ballot, but it's not the 900 and whatever he needs if everyone shows up. It's a couple hundred short. And then the question becomes, how does Engling, who Rittenauer clearly doesn't like, and obviously Diego doesn't like, how does Engling convince those people to come to his side? It would not surprise me in the least if Engling's in first place on the first ballot. And it wouldn't surprise me if Shelton is second or third. The real question to me becomes, is David Shelton going to be able to get ahead of Diego? Because it gets really weird if Diego and Engling are the top two. It gets really weird if Diego and Engling are the top two, because I don't think the Diego supporter's pulling off. So then Shelton would become the guy that's got to decide. But I think if you look at and you hear those people, there is a real appetite, and this is exactly what happened in 2014 in the treasurer's race, where nobody was talking about Kelly Mitchell. It was all Don Bates Jr., and it was all Wayne Siebold. And everybody was like, who are people going for? And ultimately, Bates ended up on the low end of the vote total after the initial round of balloting. And he certainly wasn't going to give his votes to Siebold because he couldn't stand Siebold, and he gave his votes to Kelly Mitchell. Or his voters went for Kelly Mitchell. I think a lot of this is going to depend on how much Max Engling wins by on the first ballot. If he's at 700, if he's at 750, that margin he's got to achieve gets a lot smaller. The aura of inevitability gets smaller. But, and Ryan Secord said this, They do not like there's going to be a lot of delegates who do not like the high-pressure Banks Rokita tactic. Really, the Banks people. You notice Rokita's kind of like drifted away on this. There's been a lot of pressure. Diego is being forced out. The Diego people know this. And so sort of the wild card in all of that, and we got into this with Ryan Secor, Diego's delegate, is how many of these people outside of the donut counties our orbit here aren't going along with the high-pressure Banks sales pitch. There's 2 or 3 things that are at play that are going to really decide how this goes. Because I think David Shelton is a lot of people's second choice on all sides. And I think if he can remain competitive, I think he ultimately takes it. If David Shelton can do well enough on the first ballot to where he's viable, I think he ends up winning. The question is the following things. Number one, how many votes on the first ballot does Max Engling get? If he's at 650, he's got a problem because he's got to get about 250 delegates. Now, the other part of this, too, is who stays? Because Shelton probably needs people to stay. Do the Rittenhour people stay if she's first out? Do the Diego people stay if he's second out? Because you're getting into a 3, 4, 5 hour process by the time you're to that third or fourth round of balloting. And don't forget, nobody's talking about this, you got to have the treasurer people, the Elliott's got to get up and get nominated. You got at least Nishala's got to get up and get nominated. If I'm David Shelton, I'm telling Nishala and I'm telling Elliott, keep it to a minute. Nobody cares. You're in. Go. Stop killing time. You've got party business that has to take place before they get to the votes. I mean, you're there a couple of hours before the Secretary of State's voting starts. And your people that have, some people had to drive 2.5 hours to get there. Even the people who stayed the night before got to drive 2.5 hours home. That's going to be a real challenge for Shelton because I believe that was a trend that will hold up on Convention Day, that he's a lot of people's second choice. But he's got to get those people to stay. How much does Max Engling win by, if indeed he does, on the first ballot? And where are Diego and Shelton after the first ballot? Like, let's just say it goes, and I have no idea if this is going to be the order, but it's Engling, it's Diego, it's Shelton, it's Rittenhour. Are there enough Rittenhour voters that could move Engling ahead of Diego? There's all sorts of things at play. But I think the overwhelming takeaway from those interviews was that David Shelton is a second choice for a lot of people. And we'll see if that works out on Convention Day. That was a lot of fun, by the way. I love doing stuff like that. And you're not going to hear that anywhere else. You should hear it all over the place. But it's a lot of work, and so you're not going to. But I love doing that. I thought the delegates were absolutely awesome. I thought they all were very good representatives. It's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to do. Just say, hey, you got to go talk to this stranger, in one woman's case you never met before. Sure, okay, do it. Great. I thought they were great. Great segment. We're going to take a break because we got to get into some of the Iran stuff. And then maybe we may have to save it for tomorrow based on how long the Iran stuff takes. Because we've got all sorts of drama with the new hit piece out on Shelton, alleging that him and his wife were selling sex toys in the school. And then the stuff with Ballard. We may save that for tomorrow. There's allegations of signature fraud with Ballard. Probably have to save it to tomorrow because we got to. We don't do much local national stuff, but we got to touch on the Iran stuff because the audio is crazy. Everyone is mad. And we got good audio. We think we fixed that issue from the other day. But first, hey, is your driveway showing signs of wear? Seal Now are the trained professionals when it comes to sealing, cleaning, and staining your driveway, your patio, your sidewalk, any outdoor concrete. They can do it. And they do more than just concrete. They also do wood. So we're talking decks, we're talking fences, we're talking pergolas, any outdoor wood or concrete structure. Seal Now, the clean, seal, and stain professionals, they can bring it back to life. Here's what you do. You go to sealnow.com, SEALNOW.com, and you can see work they've done for other people. You can see how your project might look. You can get a free estimate on your project. And best of all, mention you heard about Seal Now on the Rob Kendall Show, you get 20% off any long-term sealing project. 20% off any long-term sealing project just by saying you heard about them on the Rob Kendall Show. SEALNOW.com. All right, we'll take a break. Oh my gosh, everybody is outraged about the Iran deal. I can't wait to hear Jason tell me to calm down on this one. All the people, even the Trump people, are pissed off. Trump sounded very tired and very old yesterday. And some of the stuff he said has people just outraged. Outraged. I was floored at even the big Trump people were pissed off. We'll play some audio for you when we come back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show.
Hi, I'm Lauren Wilson, Realtor with App Properties. I would love to get to know you. I know that buying and selling a home is a really big deal. You need a plan in place so you can succeed. And that's where I come in. If you are buying, let me help you find that perfect home. And if you are selling, let me help you find that perfect buyer. Look, we're all Rob Kendall Show fans here. That's why I'd love to get to know you. I'm Lauren Wilson, Realtor with App Properties, an Army veteran and a Hoosier through and through. Call me at 317-590-2290. 317-590-2290.
With a lakefront view in beautiful Brazil, the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage is a little out of the way, but totally worth the trip. Down home, made from scratch food, just like the good old days at Grandma's. When you visit the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage, you'll leave more at peace than when you came in. Open 5 to 8 for dinner on Friday and Saturday, and Sundays 11 to 1:30 for the buffet. You must experience the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro and Cottage. Call 812-443-3003. 812-443-3003.
Are you seeing cracks in mortar, moisture working through walls, facade or structural failure beginning to surface? Bramwell Mackay sets the standard for exterior and structural building solutions. Our 40-year master masons and industry experts address moisture intrusion, failing foundations, masonry deterioration, and more. From preserving historic landmarks to addressing modern building envelope issues, Bramwell Mackay delivers full-spectrum service with white-glove professionalism. In Indianapolis, call 812-33-BRICK. 812-33-BRICK.
Hey, guys, welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show. Thanks for joining us. All right. The great thing I love about this show is every time we do something new, you guys get to hear it for the first time. If it stinks or if it's bad or if it breaks, this is, we fly by the seat of our pants here. And we had some issues with the audio yesterday. We think we fixed that, and we found a new way to do the audio. Look, it's not a radio station, right? It's all figuring out in the confines of a 240 square foot industrial park, right? So we said, hey, we got to fix the audio. It wasn't great, but we think we fixed it. So if it breaks again, we'll all laugh at ourselves. It'll be fun. It'll be fine. So let's talk about Trump and Iran for a minute, because what blew my mind was, I get in the algorithm where I get sort of the same people, get sort of the same groups, right? And these generally tend to be, I have a very pro-Trump algorithm. I have a very Trump is always great algorithm. It's very rare. I mean, I will, but that I see stuff critical of Trump. I'm often the outlier in my own algorithm. And what blew my mind yesterday, because the storms were yesterday, you're trying to get ready for that, you're trying to get prepared for that, you're watching the weather, the various weather channels and all that, and thank God it wasn't as bad as they thought it was going to be. I mean, South got it, but compared to what they thought we were going to get here, not nearly as bad, and I don't even think what the South got was as bad as they were predicting, so that's great, God is good. and thank you for that. But you're trying, it took me a while to be able to actually kind of invest in what Twitter was saying, just because, working all day, doing stuff, taping Statehouse Happenings, which, by the way, Statehouse Happenings is up. When you get done here today, hey, if 3 hours of Rob Kendall's not enough for you, Statehouse Happenings. It's great. It's 30 minutes. It's Jim Merritt. It's Abdul. It's myself. We just got to take the biggest stories of the week. We cram them into 30 minutes. Think of it like a 30-minute extension, 30-minute interview. It's on the iHeart, the Apple, the Spotify, and then also on YouTube under our videos tab. If you want to go watch it, check it out. We're all pretty much all convention stuff this week. So finally, really it was late last night. Let's kind of figured out, hey, storms aren't going to probably hit us here in central Indiana like maybe they'd predicted. And then this morning that I dug into the Trump-Iran stuff, and I was floored at my normally almost always all pro-Trump algorithm was like, this is the worst deal ever. And it's from people across the spectrum, including people that are usually very for Trump. And, when you kind of read through the deal, it's hard to argue with where these people are at. Hey, we started our show, the very first episode, talking about Iran. And the first thing I said has held true the entire time. You got two options when dealing with these lunatics. You can either blow them to smithereens and start all over, okay? Or you just have to ignore them and try to the best of your ability with economic sanctions to try to hem them in. And just say, I'm not going to let my economy suffer. We'll take the gamble. They are the world's largest state sponsor of terrorism. Just hope they don't get us. Those are your two options. You can't negotiate with them. We've been trying for 50 years. It's never worked. And I thought when we came on the air at the 1st of March, we were talking about blowing these guys to smithereens and starting all over. And that's why I said, look, there's a case to be made for both sides. You can't have a middle ground with these people. You can't trust them. They're not interested in peace. They're not interested in working with you. They're religious, fanatical ideologues. They're nuts. And they don't mind dying. And that's a problem. When you deal with Kim Jong-un, he minds dying. So I always thought the invading Iraq was so stupid. Saddam Hussein, bad guy. Minded dying. When you deal with leaders who like to live, you can do something with them. Doesn't mean you trust them. Doesn't mean they're great guys. Doesn't mean you should want to deal with them. But you can find points of commonality, and you also don't have to worry about them actually pressing the button because they mind dying. These guys in Iran, no, they don't mind dying. No. And so when Trump did the stuff at the 1st of March, it was like, okay, we're doing it. This is how we're going to deal with these guys. There's going to be some pain. We're going to wipe them out, and let's go. But he didn't do that. He started to do that. He was killing them left and right, and then he stopped. And for the past, 3 months now, I've been telling you guys, almost 4 months, what are we doing? We're doing the same thing the last guys did, and the guy before that, and the guy before that. You can't negotiate with these people. Either you blow them to smithereens, you turn them into a parking lot, or you just say we're going to ignore them, and to the best of our ability, we'll try to hem them in. We'll use our intelligence to catch them if they're giving a suitcase to somebody. And we got the worst of all worlds for the past really 3 or 4 months, in which Iran, okay, you kill one lunatic, we put another lunatic in his place. And we're going to shut down the Strait of Hormuz, and we're going to make your gas and your oil super expensive. And we will outlast you. And I got to say, and there's a lot of people in the Trump orbit who were leading on this. That's what they did. Most people think Iran won this thing. Now, I will preface by saying this. We won't know for 6 months. You won't know for sure for 6 months because the biggest part of this is, yes, technically under the agreement, Iran cannot acquire a nuclear weapon. Yes, that's in there. They have to destroy their nuclear material. Yes, they do. Do you trust them to do that? Do you trust Iran to be like, hey, those guys seem honest? Honest Abe over here. Wasn't it George Washington? I cannot tell a lie. I chopped down the cherry tree. The Ayatollah and GW, baby. No. I think that's a massive leap of faith to think these guys are going to just voluntarily comply with the terms of the agreement. If they do, if they ultimately become productive members of the world community, then okay, but nobody believes they're going to do that. And I think that's what everybody's pissed off about. Trump spent all these years screaming about Obama's bad deal. And then in this audio you're about to hear, he basically just caved. He was like, Uncle. It appears, and you'll hear this in this audio, that the stock market and oil prices were a bigger deal to Trump than his long espoused view of Iran cannot acquire a nuclear weapon. It was imminent. It was going down. Well, that is not, he is not mentioning any of that in the stuff you're about to hear. And at one point, and you'll hear it, he basically says Iran should be able to have ballistic missiles. This was crazy. The old saying, if you're in a hole, stop digging. Yesterday was a bunch of digging by Trump. And again, it was not Rob Kendall saying this. It was the Trump loyalist people that were saying this. All right, so the first piece of audio, we'll see if it works. Trump basically said this was about the stock market. This was at the G7. Take a listen.
If we didn't do this deal, we could have dropped more bombs for another 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 2 years. You would never have the Hormuz Strait open. You would never have success. Your market would have, instead of going up at levels that nobody's ever seen before, would go down at levels that nobody ever saw before, maybe except for 1929 or whatever.
Oh, okay, that's fine. But you don't get to, for the past 3 or 4 months, go, I don't care. I don't care about inflation. I like inflation. And then all of a sudden go, well, if I didn't do it, the stock market would have been bad. It would have been bad. You can't have it both ways. You caved. They called your bluff. Taco, Trump always chickens out. It's one thing to say, I am not letting Iran acquire a nuclear weapon. It was imminent. By the way, we've never seen any proof that anything imminent was happening. Anything. None. This comes, well, let's play the second clip about the oil, and then I'll tell you what this comes off as. All right, here's Trump basically saying this was also about the oil.
If I did the opposite, if I went out and continued to bomb them for another 4, just bomb the hell out of them, I'd get bad press on that. No, there's nothing I can do. But what this does is it allows the ships to go. If we keep bombing, those ships won't be going. And you're talking about $500, $600, $700 million a day. It's a lot of money, a lot of money. That's why the world is okay. It's liquid, it's fine. Also, we run out of reserves in about 4 weeks. There are reserves all over the world, and we would really run out. And there'll be a time when you wouldn't be able to get it. And you want to see bedlam? So for all those so-called geniuses that want to show me how smart they are, ask them why didn't they blow up General Soleimani? Ask that of the general and a couple of other people that I like very much, but boy, are they wrong. Go ahead.
Okay, but the Strait of Hormuz was open before you went in there. It'd be one thing if it wasn't open and we did this and that got it open. It was fine. There was nothing going on. Iran was being a bunch of international a-holes and trying to disrupt our existence. That's what was going on when you went in there. It's like he's trying to act as though there was something different happening than what was going on, which is what's always going on with Iran. They're lunatics. They're horrible people. They hate us. They would take us out in a heartbeat. Oh, yeah, welcome to the last 50 years. All of this stuff we went through was supposedly about Iran will never acquire a nuclear weapon. Okay, what were they doing to acquire a nuclear weapon? Iran will never acquire a nuclear weapon. Okay, but what were they doing? Why did we do all of this? Okay, you killed one general. Great. You killed the Ayatollah. Great. Isn't his grandson like in charge now? You think he's any better? Like, did the kids ever get any better? See North Korea, right? It is patently obvious to me that he didn't have the stones to blow him into the Stone Age. And his people told him, your people here at home hate you right now. They don't see any benefit to what's going on. They're sick of paying all this money for gas. They're sick of the inflation. You're not giving them any reason to believe it's going to get any better anytime soon. So either blow them up or cave. And he caved. Taco. Trump always chickens out. He is trying to act like, and this was really pissing people off on Twitter. And I get the Twitter's not real life, but these are Trump people that I was seeing this from. He's trying to act like, with them never laying out what the imminent threat was. They've never done that. At least Bush lied about it. At least Bush had Colin Powell go to the UN and get creative. They never told us what the imminent threat was. And people are looking at this going, you're doing the exact thing Obama did on steroids now after you screamed about Obama for years, and rightfully so, by the way. He was right to scream about Obama. But now they get access to all this money. Now they're claiming it has to be, there's benchmarks and whatever. But even if they don't get the money, they bought themselves 60 days. Outwit, outlast, outplay. That was the plan from the beginning. I told you guys this on this show numerous times. By the way, doesn't that audio sound great? Jason did a phenomenal job. Technically, I pulled the audio, though. But Jason's playing the audio. So that's what matters. All right. Then this is probably the weirdest one of all. He gets asked about, he made a comment about Iran having ballistic missiles and basically being okay with it. And the press was like, what the hell are you talking about, old man? And then so we'll play you the question and then the response. Listen to this.
You said you don't mind Iran having ballistic missiles. Can you elaborate on that? I want to make sure we understand your position.
No, I'm saying that if other countries have them, it's a little bit unfair for them not to have some. A ballistic missile is not the same thing as what we're talking about when we talk nuclear. But if Saudi Arabia and Qatar, and they all have some, I would say in relative proportion, I think it's okay. That's what I mean.
That's crazy. Saudi Arabia is now our ally. Sure, they did 9/11, but hey, hey, a bunch of the guys came from Saudi Arabia. Hey, what's a few buildings amongst friends? Am I right? But we have made a decision in this country. We are going to economically and militarily align with Saudi Arabia. We sell them stuff, right? We've made the choice that having Saudi Arabia on our side is the best move. And Saudi Arabia made a decision, even though they don't like us, that they like stuff. They like culture. They like things. So they made a choice that we're going to align together. Iran is the world's largest sponsor of terrorism. What are you talking about in proportion? How do you go from we have to invade their country and totally disrupt the world economy for 4 months because they're that big of an imminent danger to talking about, maybe they need some missiles? What are you doing? That one was the one above anything else that people were like, what? All right, here's Peter Doocy of Fox News using Trump's own words against him. And this is great. Take a listen.
A wise man once said in January of 2020, Iran never won a war, but never lost a negotiation. That wise man.
Who said that?
Donald Trump.
Oh, that's what I thought you were going to say.
So how do you go back to the United States and convince a skeptical American public that this deal is a win?
Look, here they lost militarily. Okay.
They lost militarily? They seem to be doing pretty good. They got access to $300 billion. The uprising? Oh, those people are donezo. Hope you like tall buildings. They're going to slaughter those people. They are going to slaughter those people. I said it from day one on this show. You got to either be all in or you're all out. And and I said this, there's merit to both approaches. I'm not necessarily mad about either one. If you can show me, now again, I'm not talking Colin Powell at the UN show me, but I'm saying if you can show me as an American citizen, as an American taxpayer, that there was an imminent threat on the safety of my country with these lunatics, and the only thing to stop them is to take them out, okay, I'll hear it. I'm not going to shut you down right away. But you got to do the job. All we got out of this was 4 months of higher inflation, higher gas prices, more money out of our pocket. And there's Peter Doocy using his own words against him. He's like, militarily. What? There's not a hint of proof that Iran's in any worse. I mean, yeah, you blew some stuff up, but you're going to give them money to rebuild it. That's what's pissing everyone off. And one thing if Trump would say, good luck with your rubble. Hope you can find a crane to pull it all out. Hey, if you find a general buried under it, tell him I said hello. He's not doing any of that. He's helping them rebuild. These crazy, insane people. All right, guys, and I think it's beginning to dawn on people that this wasn't about us. This was about Israel. And Trump has this unwavering commitment to Israel that goes way beyond just like some sort of alliance. And he, quite frankly, got bossed around by Netanyahu. I think he did this because he got sold a bill of goods with Netanyahu. And I think Netanyahu played him like a fiddle. And I think Trump's basically done with Israel now. Listen to this audio. Now, this audio is a little harder to hear because he's not in front of a microphone. He's sitting at a chair. People are asking him questions. But listen to this audio. By the way, he sounds very old. He sounds very tired. And he is pissed off at Israel because that commitment to Israel, I think he got told this is going to be easy cheesy, and it wasn't, which is crazy because Trump has spent decades railing against presidents doing stupid stuff in the Middle East. And I think he's just about done with Israel. Take a listen.
Israel's fighting Hezbollah too long, and too many people are being killed. And you don't have to knock down an apartment house every time you're looking for somebody, because there are a lot of people in those apartment houses, and they're not all Hezbollah, that I can tell you. And I suggested to Israel to let Syria take care of Hezbollah. Because to be honest with you, I think they do a better job of doing it. And I didn't like Syria. I didn't like where 2 hours before we're signing the agreement that there was an attack in Lebanon, in Beirut. It wasn't like in the southern side, and it was in Beirut. I did not like that. I let them know that. I didn't like it, not at all. But I think that Syria, he's pulled that country together amazingly quickly. He's very capable. And he's been very good for me. He's protected everything that I've asked for, he's done. And if Israel can't do the job without killing everyone else, he'll do the job. Syria will do the job.
Okay, that's crazy for so many reasons. First of all, Hezbollah does hide in buildings, and they do it deliberately. That's why they do it. Because then they'll say, you're killing civilians. Everybody knows that. They're all over the place in those buildings. The idea that, this is some foreign concept to him, Israel is never going to turn over its sovereignty to Syria. Its defenses to Syria. That's never going to happen. And Trump, of all people, would know that. Israel's never going to be like, hey, Syria, you're friends with Trump. Go get him, buddy. I think Israel has bullied Trump around, and they got him involved in this, and then he couldn't get out of it, and he's pissed off about it now. And what have we been saying the whole time? Look, I'm all for Israel defending itself. I say go into Lebanon, you take the whole damn place. I don't think we should be involved in any of it. Hey, you take out Iran, you take the whole damn place. But this is why we should not be involved in this stuff, because it never works out well for us. What did we get out of this? Nothing. We got nothing. Zero. Zip. Now, again, 6 months from now, if Iran is a perfect friend to the world community and they've destroyed all the nuclear material, then I'll come on here and say, boy, I was wrong. Trump was great. You mark that down. Does anybody really think, though, in this 60-day negotiation window that it's going to get settled? Anybody? Bueller? Yeah. All right. Jason will be joining us here in just a little bit with the YouTube comments. Before that, though, masonry color mismatch, previous repair catching your eye, not happy with the brick color on your home and ready for a total makeover. Bramwell Mackay Property Services and Consultants offer specialized masonry staining, recoloring, and recoloring. Whether you want to seamlessly blend repairs or completely transform your home's exterior, you want to build something new? Bramwell Mackay's 40-year master masons design and construct custom patio, sidewalks, outdoor summer kitchens, archways, entryways, and more. Bramwell Mackay, BRAMWELLMCKAY, BramwellMackay.com, beauty built to endure. All right, we'll take our final break. When we come back, producer Jason will have the best YouTube comments of the day, brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. We'll be back. You're watching Rob Kendall Show. Do you have a dog but don't have a fenced-in yard? Your HOA won't allow a fence? Worried about having to watch your furry friend anytime you go outside? Avoid the blazing hot summers and freezing cold winters with All-American Dog Fence. All-American Dog Fence is the cost-effective, easy-to-use in-ground fence system to keep your dog secure and give you peace of mind anytime they're outside. All-American Dog Fence backs their Pet Stop products with a lifetime warranty. Call or text All-American Dog Fence at 317-862-6606 or visit their website at allamericandogfence.com. Mention the Rob Kendall Show and get $200 off a new installation.
Right now, everything's expensive. That includes things you need around the house. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John is a Hoosier lifer who takes pride in and stands behind his work. That's why all basic services and repairs with Black Sheep Plumbing come with a 2-year parts and labor guarantee, with water heaters having a 6-year parts and tank guarantee. Call or text Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner. 765-315-7558. That's Black Sheep Plumbing at 765-315-7558.
Buying a home or thinking about refinancing? Work with someone local who understands the central Indiana market. Gary Tedrow with Verity Mortgage helps homebuyers and homeowners explore options for purchasing, refinancing, or even consolidating higher interest debt through their mortgage. Gary's approach is simple, clear advice, and personalized guidance so you can make confident decisions. Visit loansbygary.homes to learn more or get started today. You've got nothing to lose but dollars on your mortgage payment. So call for a free, no-obligation quote, 317-695-5179. Gary Tedrow, NMLS number 179207 with Verity Mortgage, NMLS number 70345, an equal housing opportunity lender.
Guys, welcome back. It's the Rob Kendall Show, our third hour. We're sort of discombobulated today because we did that big thing with the delegates. Brought to you by John Rust. Normally, we try to be commercial free for the third hour, but just because that delegate segment went so long, we weren't able to do that. But our third hour brought to you by our great friend John Rust. He just loves our program. He's like, let me make that possible for you.
He was fine with it.
Speaking of John Rust, June the 23rd, that's Tuesday. He's going to be speaking at the Indy Defenders of Liberty. That's a great group. West side of Indianapolis, Tea Party, liberty-minded folks. Spoke with them several times over the years. Great people that run that. Our super fan, Rick Barr, runs the Defenders of Liberty. He's awesome. And his wife, Jenny. The only person more awesome than Rick is his wife, Jenny. 6:30, Tuesday, June 23rd, Indy Defenders of Liberty, FC Tucker Building in Avon. That is right by Ronald Reagan. It's next to the Best Buy, Texas Roadhouse, Office Depot. If you just Google FC Tucker Building, Avon, it'll pop up so you can get there. 6:30, I'm planning on going as of right now. And John will be talking about America's founding, qualities that make America exceptional, and ways to advance these principles today. Chance for you to meet the great John Rust, who makes our third hour possible every single day. All right. Now it's time for you to become the star.
It's about time.
Producer Jason joins us.
How we doing, Rob?
Great.
All right.
Nice job with the audio.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Okay.
We finally got it figured out.
Now, you guys don't understand, like, how hard Jason works. I mean, he doesn't do much during the show, right? He just kind of sits there. But all the stuff he does behind the scenes, like every time we film a video, an interview, every time I do a Zoom thing, he's got to
It's like an aerobic session for me.
Jason does all sorts of stuff each day, works very hard, and even things like the audio. How do we make sure it plays better? You got to look into that and figure that out. In fairness,
I think we got that settled now.
In fairness, I did record the audio, though.
Okay, and then I had to put it in the computer, line it all up, get it all set, make sure it faded work.
Yeah,
you did a great job recording that audio, though. Yeah.
Yeah. You're welcome. All right, tell us about Black Sheep Plumbing.
All right, this chat is brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. If your water heater, water softener, or well pump goes out, or even if your toilet stops working, you could be looking at a major expense. Don't let your next call to a plumber break the bank. Call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. John, I lost my train of thought there.
John McKinney.
Yeah, I know that. I'm saying you just lost my. Okay, call John at Black Sheep Plumbing. There we go. Had to find my place. Black Sheep Plumbing can do the job right at a fraction of the cost of the big guys. And Black Sheep Plumbing says thank you to all military, firefighters, and police officers with an American Heroes discount. That's the kind of guy John is. Call or text John at Black Sheep Plumbing for all your needs today and speak directly with John, the owner, 765-315-7558, 765-315-7558. We need a new script.
See, this is why. So Ari, did you ever meet Ari?
I never met Ari. Of course, I know who Ari was, one of the producers at WIBC.
Was with Hammer and Nigel for years, then was with Cats for a while, then left and went to Indigo.
Yeah, who
Ari, that'd be nice. Ari and I talk quite a bit, and Ari listens to our show all the time. He's a great dude. And Ari was like, the other day, Ari's like, I'm sure he won't mind me telling people this. He said, you look ridiculous with those papers when you flip through them. He's like, you need an iPad. And I was like, that's why I don't want an iPad. You see, that's why you lost your spot.
No, I lost because I was on my phone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't lose my spot with the papers. I can just flip right through.
But all you do is sit and read. I gotta
I'm old, and that's why I told him. I said, Ari, I'm old.
You are an old man.
I need the papers. That's why.
All right. So last night in the chat, Sambo ZYMS5654, I believe, was the first one in the chat.
Whoa.
With a hi all.
Yeah.
He just disappeared. I don't see him at all today. So he or she was happy to be in there last night. And of course, we had those storms rolling through. People are asking again, what happens to the chats from the night before? When I post the show, like that it's going to be happening,
right?
The live thing. You can start chatting, and then sometimes the chats stay there, sometimes they go away. I don't delete any of those. I never delete the chats unless you're being an ass. And I've only done that twice in the entire, how long we've been here? 78 shows. So you people are not asses, so I do not erase your stuff or delete your stuff. But I don't know why. Maybe there's a certain amount of time after so many hours or something like that. But these the chat from what starts the start of the show stays up forever. So when you go back to, and this is another question people have had, when you go back to watch this show, it takes a few hours after the show for the chat to pop back up because it's processing. And after it comes back up, usually 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, if you start at the beginning of the show, you only see the first handful of chats. If you just forward through the show, you see the chats start popping up more and more. But it doesn't show all the chats all at the same time, so you have to kind of go through it. The idea is you just watch the show,
right, and
the chat pops up. So for those of you that have been wondering what happens to my comment or why isn't it there, why does it delete? Yeah, ask Mr. YouTube. I'm not really sure, but I know when you start chatting at the top of the show that day, they definitely stay there. They're there forever. You can go back several weeks and read the chats if you want.
Isn't it amazing how much technology has changed? So Jason and I owned a sports streaming company for years in the mid-2000s. We owned it for like 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when nobody was doing streaming. Like it was a new, it wasn't a new thing.
We used to have to tell people you've got to turn your speakers on.
And remember how long, so the way it worked is, this was very cutting-edge technology at the time. We actually, we earned a living for years and years and years running this business. We made so much money, we wasted it on a radio station. Yeah. We would be very rich right now if we hadn't done that. But
and here we are on the internet.
Yeah, look, we're right back where we started. But you could take your phone out to, your flip phone back in the day or whatever you had,
mm-hmm.
and you could call a phone number and it would activate a stream. We had a system set up where you could call a phone number, it would activate a stream, and then people could listen on the internet. It's pre-iPhone, all this stuff, right? And then when we had the system we had designed would record the game. It was like a server that would record the game, and then we had to download the game and then upload it, put it back on a website so you go back and listen to the archive. Remember how long it used to take to upload
an
audio file?
That's true. Yeah, well, it wasn't dial-up, but yeah, it still took forever.
And now these YouTube, like it just, bam, a 3-hour file just appears, right?
Right,
It's just,
right.
boom, there it is.
Modern technology, gotta
Yep.
love it, and we use it to the fullest extent that we can. So this morning, I'm not sure who the first one was. I believe it was Andy Engel. Hey, all, good morning. At long last, I made it to the first comment of the day.
Andy.
I think, he says. And Drew ropped in there. Yes. Oh, no, Drew Robert.
Oh,
Robert?
yes.
No, I
Yes.
screwed
That's a
that all up.
catchphrase now. Somebody should put that on a shirt.
Yeah. And Drew also said, get well, old man. Yeah, the old man and C. Mills.
Yeah, C. Mills.
Having some trouble the last couple of days. And, of course, C. Mills still in the hospital waiting for his surgery or what have you.
If you're the prayerful type, I know C.
Yep.
Mills would appreciate your prayers. He
sure.
had a blood burst in his liver, which is like I'd never even heard of that.
Blood clot on his liver,
blood clot,
something like that. Yeah, he said he didn't mind us sharing it because that's something I'd never heard of either.
Yeah,
So it's
and
like,
so
how do you check for that?
He has not been able to eat for several days. They've got him
poor
hooked
guy.
up to the IV, and he's
not
awesome.
and he's
dude.
not an old dude.
No, he's younger than me.
Yeah.
So
the old man, again, having some trouble there. He says, happy Thursday, everyone. Thanks for the prayers yesterday. They're always appreciated. The surgery went well, but 4 weeks in a walking boot is going to be a bear. Way to kick us off, Andy Engel. He gave Andy props for being number one.
I was thinking about that this morning as I was thinking about C. Mills and then, obviously stuff with the old man. It's like every day, just give thanks for your health.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what stress you're under. And I just took a moment to think about that. It's like, well, whatever stress you're under, you got your health. As long as you got your health,
that is
your family's
correct.
got their
'Cause
health.
a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder.
Spray jockey, I hope everyone is doing well after the storms last night. Yeah, those looked like they were going to barrel right through the south side of Indianapolis.
I thought it was coming for you.
Yeah, and it went south, so unfortunately the folks below us got it, and they were tracking a tornado there around down by Lake Lemon or wherever, all that Nineveh, all that area down there, so hopefully everybody down there is okay. I know a lot of trailers got flipped and things like that out in Illinois.
Isn't that amazing how into real time now, like we had Wish TV on, and because I don't have cable, and so Wish TV on, and how they can just zoom into like an exact area now.
Right.
Hey, this is spinning. It's like amazing. They know exactly what's going on. It's unbelievable.
Right. All right. Kevin Branham. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Rob and Jason. Good chatting last night. They enjoyed the chat. MLM Warriors, I would agree. The chat last night was great. See you guys, entertainment, even when we're not on. Spray jockey, I could really go for some Double D's baked potato right now.
It's a baked potato day.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how early it is. Always good time for baked potato. The old man, smash that like button, everyone. Steve Green with an E. Good morning, all. Hope everyone stayed safe and intact. Braun should keep his mouth shut. His hypocrisy knows no bounds. Let's go. Pamela S. Samples. I have been getting phone calls about Diego. They call him Dirty Diego.
We did that. Remember?
You started that, Rob.
That was we had Lopez write a song on the show called Dirty Diego.
Well, he didn't write the song. He I guess.
He
changed the Michael Jackson lyrics to Dirty Diana.
No.
Yes, Rob.
Was that what it was?
Yes, Rob. Have you ever heard Dirty Diana?
I thought it was a rap
You never
song.
heard Michael Jackson's Dirty
Diana? I thought it was
Diana?
a rap song that he changed.
No, Michael Jack. Go listen to it. Dirty Diana. Dirty Diana. And
no
changed
kidding. I
it
thought
to
it was
Dirty
some
Diego.
rap song.
That is hilarious.
Yeah,
All
that was
right.
that was one of the things that I'm sure got destroyed.
I didn't take you to the strip clubs enough, I guess.
As in, like, I think I came in there and saw you 3 times over the years. One was on
Should have been
Christmas
4. I would have played Dirty Diego.
Christmas Eve.
Dirty Diana
Nothing more
for you.
depressing than Christmas Eve in a strip club.
MLM Warriors, Rob creating this show has earned my thumbs up.
Oh, thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Debbie Holcomb.
Technically, I think Jason created the show.
I probably wouldn't have been able to do a whole lot without you sitting there.
Well,
at the
right.
theater.
I mean, I had the idea for the show, but I think you technically, made the thing.
You asked, I responded. I appreciate the ask. I think we did okay.
Yeah.
Debbie Holcomb, hey all. Hope you all made it safely through the storms. I'm spending the day with grandson number 1.
Uh-oh.
So I'll have to listen to this great show this afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
Enjoy your day, Robbleheads. All right, Debbie, good afternoon.
Give you something to look forward to.
That is correct.
That's right.
Yep. All right, MLM Warriors, the Rob Kendall Show is in my top 5 YouTube channels.
Woo!
Racing up to number 1. Keep watching. It'll get there. Kevin Branham, Mom Kendall, another stellar pressed shirt.
That's right.
Yeah, the white. MLM Warriors likes the shirt as well. Adam Baltus.
Baltus Travel Services.
Travel man. Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is okay after the storms last night. Jim Tennecore, good morning, all you beautiful people. Looking forward to today's show. Spray Jockey asks, we have beautiful people here? Of course you do. They're all beautiful.
See you.
You're all beautiful.
We're going to see you if you get your tickets to the June 27th live show, Mad Hatter Comedy Club Event Center in Greenwood, which you can get at robkindleshow.com. Let's just like 9 days, guys. Come on. I got a few tickets left, so John will leave me alone. Get those tickets. I hate that I keep hearing from him.
And wear your sunglasses. The beauty will be blinding. Yeah. Anthony Drew Gary. I made my Rob Kindle Show debut today.
That's right. He was a very good representative.
Was, one of the,
David Shelton.
The folks there. Okay.
That's a lot of pressure when you represent a candidate, right?
It is.
Like, don't screw it up.
He did a pretty good job.
He did a good job.
C. Mills in the chat. Not much better today. It's almost impossible to sleep in a hospital, especially being all wired up. Still waiting to move to University Hospital for the surgery. Won't be in the chat much. Well, we understand that, C. Mills. And
hate
Chris,
that, man.
We certainly appreciate you being here at all, and we're all thinking about you. And the old man, yeah, we're praying for you, Chris. All right. Jody Lorman.
Owner of Honeysuckle Hill Bistro.
I keep saying new, and every time I say her name, it's a new one.
That's
no, she's not new. She's been here a long time, and the sign right there represents, well, good morning, listening for the first time live on YouTube instead of later on Spotify. I hit the like immediately so I wouldn't be a dine and dasher.
Hey, here's the deal. Because he's got to show up now because he looked like a complete ass if he
that's
doesn't.
later on. She does comment later on. We'll hit that later.
All right,
on
very good.
When I get to yeah,
that was a big deal.
Don't go ahead of me, Rob.
All right.
You talked about AES and
yes.
Duke and overcharging Kevin Branham. Duke overcharged and AES gets a raise. Gotta love the government we voted for.
Yeah, and you can't bitch if you're Braun because you appointed the guy that cast the vote.
Yeah, the 06010 board. If everyone conserved a lot of energy, the monopolies would still want rate increases because of lost revenue due to lower use and greater efficiencies.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong there at
That's
all.
right, 100%.
Timothy Sears. Braun is a pathetic governor.
Yes.
Mad Duck. Braun is just pathetic, period. All right. He's not well liked.
I should invite Braun to come see us.
You have not invited Braun into our studio?
Well, I haven't talked to Braun.
He's probably wondering why.
The old Last Supper we had at state party headquarters, and I think they knew then that was going to be the end of that little short-lived
hey, we need
back
10,
and forth.
We need 10 more likes to get to 200, guys. Come on, 10 more likes.
Oh, yeah. We're short of 200.
Done.
All this work we put into this delegate forum for you guys. Come on, 10 more likes.
All right. The J. Indiana. Why is a member even on the board if it's a conflict of interest?
Yeah, that is interesting. They went into it a little bit in the article about why the guy recused himself, but yeah, that's
it's the government appointment. Joseph, okay, that was J. Indiana. LD Stoltz. How do you have a conflict of interest on the board of a utility? Why are you on the board?
Yeah, they went into it in the article about why the guy recused, because the vote was 3 yes for AES, 1 no, and then 1 recused.
I work for the electric company.
Well, I can't remember. He represented somebody. I can't remember what the thing was.
Yeah, how are you again?
Yeah, the Capitol Chronicle has a full article. If you guys want to go read it, they spelled it all out.
Joseph Norris, conflict of interest? Question mark. What? Question mark. How can anyone even get appointed to this board if they have a conflict of interest?
Well, they don't appoint this point. They put a senator on there. I mean, why would you think anything's going to change when you appoint a guy who just keeps funding the budgets, that produce these sorts of policies, right? Why would you think anything's going to change?
Bucko707. I don't think Braun is as clueless as he acts. He knows exactly what he's doing. Most everything is for his benefit, politically or otherwise. Mid-States corridor.
Yeah.
MLM Warriors. Sounds like the Rob Kindle Show is expanding to something different. There might be other tentacles, other things going on, other places to possibly pick it up, but this is probably going to always be here.
Yeah,
this will be the hub. We put too much effort into this, so these days, whether you're on the radio, you can just pipe it out, and they pick it up, and then they're happy they don't have to look at you every day and all that good stuff.
Wherever we end up, this will stay.
This will stay. You'll still be able, regardless of whether you're watching, radio, regardless of where you go, only has so much coverage area. So this goes all over the world. Mad Duck, I'm surprised there are still tickets left for the live show.
Yeah,
We've got
like I said,
few left out
not
there.
many, but John bugs me every day. So,
right.
well, not every day, but
Yeah.
and that bug. I'm kidding. John's awesome, the owner of Mad Hatter.
Well, Strong Sandwich asked if there was if you could do a walk-up ticket because her husband has such a wacky schedule, Mr. Sandwich, that they won't know. And she's called and she hasn't been able to get an answer on that.
Oh,
So
I'll ask
we
John.
might, get that answer if you could, Rob. McLovins, thanks, Rob, for checking on Mills.
Yeah, no, Mills is an awesome dude. He's a great guy. Loves our show, loves all of you guys, and so we want to lift him up.
Mm-hmm. What is the name? 0601 O board. What is the name of the group hosting Rust on Tuesday?
Indie Defenders of Liberty.
Okay.
Avon
All
at
right.
the FC Tucker Building, 6:30.
All right. Oh, okay. The 0601 O board also added, Rob's mom delivers the iron shirts to the studios. That is how Rob changes between segments. Has to be the only reasonable explanation. And we've got a whole wardrobe right
That's right.
there.
Yes.
He likes to, when he does interviews, he likes to change his. He's like
That's right.
Cher.
Yes. And it's just a giant coincidence that the shirt I'm wearing happens to be the shirt that I was wearing from the show before.
Yeah, I bet that you ought to keep that here, and then tomorrow when Whitty's in,
Uh-huh.
when we interview Whitty, you could put that shirt back on.
Okay, because you guys requested, we're bringing Whitmer back. Whitmer's going to be with us tomorrow. We're going to be talking about Diego's donations, which are fascinating, and then Diego's spot bonuses, and nobody digs into Diego like Indie Reporter. So,
well, make sure you bring that shirt back because people do like that shirt. Drew, Jason, when is your next video? I got to have a topic. It's got to be an easy one. It's got to be one I can get out and just get some opinions and all that. So if you guys got some topic suggestions, we did the video for the data center. The people were upset. I didn't go into the whole, this is what a data center is and why it's there and get both sides, although we did try to call the mayor who people think he put out an AI video yesterday.
The video today. I'll have that tomorrow. We'll put that on tomorrow.
The mayor's video from
Yeah,
Shelbyville?
yeah.
People saying that's AI.
I've heard that from a bunch of people.
Yeah, until we hear otherwise. That seemed a little wacky. And even if it was AI, why would you put that out? Because it was an awful AI video. All right. Nicholas Wilson. Okay, now we're talking about your delegate people.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Wait a minute. Did we do we did Bayh first, didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay, we're talking about Bayh. Nicholas Wilson. Damn, this kid is a politician.
Oh, because he smoothly transitioned into, I asked him where he's going for Father's Day or what he's doing for Evan for Father's Day. He's like, we're going to the bistro.
And right on that mark, Jody Lorman. Thanks for the shout out, Beau. We're looking forward to meeting and serving you and your dad.
That's awesome. I guess
bistro.
maybe if you go to the Honeysuckle Hill Bistro for the brunch buffet on Sunday, you might get to meet some celebrities. I don't know what time they'll be there, but
That's right. That's right. C. Mills back in the chat from the hospital bed. I told Rob I can't have any solid food. All I can do is watch TV and scroll the interwebs, and I see there are commercials for the food. Sorry, Honeysuckle and Double D's. I can't make it.
You and your surgery, Chris.
Well, at least he's making the most of it. And all right, the 0601 board. What type of French fries does Beau get at Arby's? I ain't voting for no curly fry lover.
They brought the potato cakes back. You
Oh,
can
is
get that as
right?
an option now.
I was told I shouldn't have potato cakes.
Really?
Yeah, the whole grease.
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
I had to change my whole morning.
Yeah.
Morning.
You're in a state of flux, but you've been much better today.
Yeah. It's amazing what how bad Diet Coke and a hash brown can be for you, but apparently it's a thing. Who would have thought? Mad Duck, when this is over, you need to get to DD's and have a whole brisket yourself, Chris.
That's right.
Yes, he does. Okay, now we're talking about. Are we still talking? Let me see who we're talking about here. Nope, still talking about Beau. Secord Dry.
I think that's Ryan Secord.
Ryan Secord. There we go.
I think so.
That's who it'd be. Does he sleep in Indiana at nights, or does he fly back to the coast between events? Nothing like your own bed, am I right?
Well, here's the deal. He's paid taxes in Indiana for 8 years. So I don't really care where you sleep. If you're paying taxes here, you consider yourself a Hoosier. If you're giving money to our government to fund my stuff, I'll consider you a Hoosier. I think that's going to be a bat. That worked on Evan because Evan was in.
You know what killed Evan? What killed Dad? His association with Hillary.
Yeah.
Because people thought, he's a middle-of-the-road guy. He's common sense. And then he just got sucked into that whole, Hillary when it was going really woke. And people like, nope. Even the older folks like, nope. You stepped across that line.
He was very robotic,
and they still remember that.
Too.
I think a lot of people hold that against.
And I'm sure if you ask him, I would love to get him on the show. I think it'd be fascinating because I think he's a fascinating guy.
Beau, get your dad on in here.
Yeah, I mean,
Tell
like,
him it's safe.
not even like the politics of it, just like, hey, you were this, your kid's running for this. Like, from a dad perspective, what is that? Was that like? But yeah, he was very robotic when he ran, and you're right, he got lumped in, and but that argument worked with Evan. It's not going to work with Beau because, I mean, what, the guy was in the military, he clerked for the appeals court judges, he's a lawyer here. I mean, like,
did you know he's a Marine?
He doesn't say it every 10 seconds.
That's what
like
I'm saying.
Todd Young does.
That's what I'm saying. Baby Fishmouth, I think, was a little put off by the 06010 board talking about curly fries. What? Who doesn't like curly fries? I do prefer the curly fries myself.
Yeah.
So I'll back you up there, Baby Fishmouth.
Yeah.
But no problem, 0601 board. Board. You're not voting for me anyway. All right, continuing on. Again, another negative. I don't think we had any positive comments about Beau, but, as it is. But he came in and did the thing.
Well, this is what'll be fascinating is when we start getting down to whoever the Republican is, and let's just say Ballard gets on the ballot, which now there's all sorts of drama with him about these
just brewing just in the last couple hours. Yeah. Tune in tomorrow.
We'll get into that tomorrow. But if it's Ballard and Bayh and whatever guy the Republicans pick, where does our audience go? Because most of our audience hates the Republicans too. So I'm going to be fascinated to see where they go because I feel like everybody's in play.
I feel like a part of our audience probably doesn't vote at all. They're just so disgusted.
Could be.
That's a very good possibility. But back to Golf Tango X-Ray. After all of the lies that his daddy and granddaddy fed us during their times in office, why should we believe anything from Baby Bayh? The whole family have been grifters.
Well, what lies did his dad tell as a governor?
I don't know. I didn't. That's the.
I mean, it's one thing not to like somebody's
Like
politics.
I said, I think it was part of the affiliation, but I do remember Evan was very moderate and very
popular.
well liked, very popular, and then he drifted over. And people thought he was looking for a position in Hillary's cabinet, which he probably would have had she beat Trump.
But I mean, you think about his
I'm sorry. This would have been back. I'm sorry, back when she was running against Obama.
That's right. That was 08.
That was the time. Yeah.
Because then Bayh did not run for re-election in 10, right? Because Coates, who Bayh took the seat from, then took the seat back from Bayh. It was Coates, Bayh, Coates.
Right.
But here's the thing, and this is the hypocrisy of the Republicans. Dan Coates was on tape because he moved to North Carolina, talking about how that was his forever home and he couldn't wait to be there and blah, blah, blah. And then as soon as Bayh said, I'm not running, Coates came back and we're like, give it to Coates because everybody will vote for him. It's the hypocrisy of these
back
people.
Home
They're going to beat the hell out of Beau or whatever. But they voted over and over again for Coates, and he was on tape saying he couldn't wait to live in North Carolina.
The 06010 board, he's all over it today. Wait, this is not live? I feel betrayed. Sometimes the interviews, we can't, we went, our because we care so much about you, we don't run like 8-minute commercial breaks, 10-minute commercial breaks, and then the news and everything else. We don't have time to rush people in and get them set up and then get that all happening and then get them out the door because you have to walk them down, you have to walk them up. We can't do that and then get Rob back on in 2 minutes and 10 seconds, which is what our commercial breaks are. So that would be why.
And I don't think that we've ever had a guest where, like, from one day to the next, you're like, this is outdated. One time with Nikki Kelly, I think something happened, but other than that, it's like, what do you want from us?
Okay, so now I believe we are getting to the your people there.
Yeah, my peeps.
And I know we don't have a lot on this. Steve Green with an E. This cat wants to overturn Citizens United. I'll vote for him on that one issue alone.
Which one was that? It was Ryan. Was it Ryan Seacrest?
I believe he was. Yeah, the first one maybe. Drew overturned Citizens United. Think about that.
No, that's Bayh.
No, I'm sorry. We were still into Bayh.
Yeah,
we are. I'm sorry. Okay.
You got to get better organized.
Let's
this
skip
YouTube
over
chat.
on this. Yeah. That's here we go. Okay. Yeah. Now we're on the first of the delegates. All right. Steve Green with an E. What? This dude is delusional. How can you defend Diego? Josh,
so this is Ryan Seacrest.
This
Diego's
is Ryan
delegate.
Seacrest. Yes. Okay. I'm on track now. I had to use different color highlighters there. Now I'm back on my color track. Josh Richardson, this guy cannot be serious about Diego, the old man 68. He's only voting for Diego because he's known him longer. What a stupid reason to vote for him. 0601 aboard. Exaggeration of Diego's misdeeds. Vic Ferrari. This makes me wonder what Diego would have to do to get out of this guy's favor. Tammy Franklin. Diego's probably paying these people to vote for him.
Oh,
He's
stop.
that shady.
He is not. He's not paying anybody to vote for him.
We
I
didn't
guarantee
say
you
that.
that.
0601 aboard. Ryan is pushing against the establishment, but attaching himself to a poor horse in Diego. And he says, I thank Ryan for his openness and believe he represents more people than we all care to admit.
I think Ryan, and this is what, and we talked about who's going to win, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of people outside of our, 15 county bubble or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
who don't have any idea about any of this stuff. They don't want to be told what to do, which is exactly what Ryan said. And I think Diego's probably going to surprise people with the amount of votes that he actually ends up getting.
Okay, then C. Mills, full disclosure, JD, who was the second.
JD Thomas, yeah.
JD Thomas and I are friends, so I take his opinion a bit higher than most, and he has a lot of good ones.
He was the Ingling delegate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Vic Ferrari. As Rob would say, there's a lot of butt smooching going on here. Well, they're for these guys.
Yeah, they're for these guys.
Yeah. And
of course they're going to be talking good about him.
0601 aboard. Does Max win on the first ballot if he offers Shelton a meaningful permanent role in his administration?
No, Shelton already turned that down. They offered to make him the election head, or according to Shelton, they offered to make him election head when Diego was running if he'd get out of the race.
You finally got a compliment from young Kim.
Oh,
Kim
thank
Young.
you.
Yeah. Great show today, Rob.
Oh.
I believe Beau to be a Democratic Trojan horse candidate.
The next time I see Kim, I'll tell her I see Kim somewhat regularly.
All right, and then we're moving on. Let's see, the old man 68. 3 delegates using facts and 1 using emotion to base their votes on. I believe he was talking about the final, the lady there.
Oh, well, okay, so the Rittenhour delegate.
Okay.
But she was pretty direct about this.
Mm-hmm.
She's voting for Rittenhour for a bunch of things that have to do with the office. They're pissed off about a bunch of things. And there's going to be a lot of people who are going to vote that way where they've just had it with all the Republicans, and she's sort of that vote. So
well,
it does represent a swath of people.
Vic Ferrari, door number 1, 2, 3, or what's in the box? MLM Warriors, Shelton can beat Rittenhour.
Oh, yeah, no, there's no doubt. But
yeah.
can he beat Diego?
Yeah.
He's got to figure out a way to get past Diego, because I don't think Diego people will leave Diego. I think if Diego's second, I don't think they'll leave and go to Shelton to get him to second.
Mm-hmm. Kevin Branham, we got a couple more. Kevin Branham, I still say Shelton's wife should have a toy table outside the convention.
That's so good.
Who was that? Just wear it.
Who said
just
that?
Own it. Kevin Branham. And thanks for the donation yesterday, Kevin.
Oh, yeah.
By
Kevin,
the way, you are
it's
the
not
man.
that I'm ignoring you. I did, because of the
Yes.
storms and everything, I did not usually do that in the evening. I did not get in and check the support. By the way, you can support our program, support button, robkindleshow.com, big tab at the top. I always try to send emails the day of to everybody who supports our show. I did not yesterday because of the weather. It's on my list to do today.
Tops off his donation with an excellent take. Thank you, Kevin. MLM Warriors, how do we find emails for delegates? Is that a thing? Are you able
somebody
to
found
email?
their phone numbers because they can
Oh.
spam text all these people.
Oh.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think it's up to us to list those or anything. That would be, I don't know. Okay, and we're going to end it with this. Andy Engel. Andy gets the final word.
Yes.
My family and I feasted on Double D's yesterday for lunch.
All right.
Had the family pack, so good.
Hey, advertising on this show works.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to learn about your business that you're either the leader of or you're the owner
Mm-hmm.
of, or if you can get to those people. We deliver the goods, baby.
That's
Just
right.
ask the Double D's, ask Honeysuckle, ask Lauren Wilson,
Yep,
ask
Double
all of them.
D's. And I will also say that I normally try to get, especially all the regulars, I always try to get you in the chat some way, somehow. Doesn't always happen, and I know some people kind of keep track of that. It's not that I ignore you. I see about everything that comes in. It's just sometimes we run out of time. And sometimes there's some days we highlight other people more than others. Not sure why that happens. Some days we run out of time, and I can't get to the ones that I had. But trust me, we appreciate it. We love it. We love y'all, and this chat does make the show, I think. And Rob has a pretty good input as well.
Sales at robkindleshow.com. If you'd like Jason and I to hawk your merch.
That's right.
Your stuff, your product. You see how good we do.
Or call any of our advertisers
Yeah.
and ask them. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think any of them would have a problem
Sales
testifying.
at robkindleshow.com. Send me an email. I'll call you back. We'll get together.
All right. So long, everybody. By the way, Trump, prices, gas prices. Rob, now you can afford to go to Arby's. You can afford to put gas in your car, go to Arby's. And I know you have no stocks, but if you did, they'd be up today. That's all I give a crap about. So long, everybody.
Brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing.
Brought to you by Black Sheep Plumbing. Thank you very much.
All right,
John.
that's going to do it for us today. You guys are awesome. Thank you for everything that you do for us. We couldn't do it without you. We'll be back here tomorrow, 9 until noon. Indy Reporter scheduled to be with us. We're going to do a deep dive on Diego's money, which is interesting. Nobody knows Diego's money like Indy Reporter. That'll be fun. Nikki Kelly's scheduled to be with us as well. So we will see you guys right back here tomorrow, 9 until noon. You guys have a great rest of your day. For producer Jason, I'm Rob Kendall. You've been watching Rob Kendall Show.